If you've ever been pumped to try your very own proprietary vibe-coded indicator, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. That day is upon us here today. I'll let you know how it goes. Good to have everyone back. I hope you had a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. We made it to Thursday, the day before our big economic print. We do have fears back and forth with confrontations with Iran. We'll see how that shakes out. I'm actually just seeing a headline here. Iran expected to make a written proposal for resolving the standoff for a senior U.S. official. So there's going to be some back and forth on that today. No doubt that's impacting the oil markets as well. We're going to cover it all. We had some more earnings to go. We've got movers here today. No guests. So we're probably going to do more charts, more looking at what you folks want to look at here today. Should be a good one. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Thursday edition for February 19th, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Happy Thursday. Hope that you all had the rest, or I hope that you all had a great rest of your Wednesday. Easy for me to say. We're back for another episode here today. Hopefully we're able to make some money. Really excited to share that with you. Let's see who's first here. Oh, producer might be sleeping a little bit. Richard Judge is first here today. Judge, good morning. Keep sending that positivity into the universe. Lord knows we need more of that. That is for sure. Good to have you back, buddy. Brian, good morning. Welcome back. Good to have you again, as always. Peter, good morning. No snow here. Me and my friends think second year in a row, the winter that never happened. Well, I'll tell you what, Peter. Winter definitely happened here in the Midwest. In fact, after those 60-degree days, one of my teammates who lives in Minnesota sent me a picture of his yard covered in snow and said, it's like the snow never even left there. So really depends, I guess, on where you're at. I can assure you, though, we had winter, including some of those days that were in the negatives day after day. Nonetheless, good to have you back here, Peter. Hopefully you're ready to go. Astro Kev, good morning. Power goes through the roof. LOL, up 28%. So Power, that's PWR, ticker PWR. That's Quanta Services. They reported earnings here today. Don't actually have that on my list, Astro Kev, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to add that, and then we'll, at minimum, take a look at the chart and see how it's doing. Good morning. Good to have you back. Robert, good morning. Welcome back. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. Azrar, it's good to see you as always. Welcome back. Yes, that girl. Love that handle. Welcome back. Good morning. Big Dave, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, another. Man, you guys and your YouTube names gets me fired up. It's the small things in life, it turns out. Good morning, Zach. Welcome back. Jim, good morning. Welcome back. We don't need luck. We're going to make our own luck, buddy, but good luck. I know what you mean. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Producer, couldn't do this without you. Really. Good morning. Welcome back. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Kenzo, good morning. Welcome back. Brent, good to see you. Welcome back. Brent, what are you trading in terms of the movers here today? And are you almost done with your day? You have the early shift, no doubt. Lost Penny, good morning. We're going into the range. Don't change the money. Let the money come to you. Look for the money setup. I love this. Preaching patience here. Let the setup come to you. Lost Penny, that is very disciplined. Good stuff. Archangel, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Day Trader, good morning. Looks like I ran within 24 to 48 hours, eh? Maybe, maybe not. Looks like they're ready to sign a deal, although I don't believe anything until it's actually done, to be quite honest with you. And I think that the back and forth is definitely going to weigh into the session that we have here today. And I remember back to yesterday, was seeing conflicting headlines all day. You guys checked me on some of the positive ones that I saw, and I was able to take a look and see that it appears that tensions are going back and forth. I would expect that today. I'm actually not going to front run this trade, but if you folks have any trading ideas that you're positioning for now or early this morning, I'm curious about that too. Marty trying it out here himself. If you've ever vowed to stop drinking coffee, why on earth would I do that? No. And it lasted 2 days. Then son, hit that like button. 2 days is an impressive streak to go without coffee. I might actually lose my mind. I know I'd be suffering from one of like the worst headaches I've ever had if I did that. Couldn't give that up. Marionetta, good morning. I did get your email. It's long. I'll get back to it. I really appreciate that feedback. Very, very well thought out. I appreciate you taking the time to do that. I did get it. Despite me not responding, I did get it. I will go through it. Thank you. Endro, good morning. Welcome back. Good to see you. Brian, you got that right. Life or death decision for him. We're going to let him make his own decision. Let him make his own decision. We don't have any impact on that. Cam, good morning. Is it a Mark Petrino day? No, we're not at Friday yet. That's going to be tomorrow. As far as I know, Mark will be back. Maverick, good morning. Brandy, good morning. It's good to see you again. Knights Lance, good morning. Welcome back. Crankbait, good morning. Welcome back. Dive Deep, good morning. Matthew, good morning. Nick, good morning. Tyler, good morning. Good to see you. Joey, good morning and peace to all. Dude, they're good vibes yet again. We'll take that. Amasar, sorry. Good morning. Welcome back. Kayla, good morning. Good to see you. ATL Russ, locked in, ready to go. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you again. Robert, good morning. Welcome back. Durkus, good morning. Welcome back. Agha, good morning. Welcome. Just some guy. Good morning. Welcome back. Lambo Rolls, it's good to see you as always. Lambo, what do you got on the docket here today? What are you looking at here in the pre-market? Delpernicus, cool name. Good morning. Kimosabi, top of the morning, Ryan. If I had a hat, I would tip it to you. Top of the morning, indeed. Up 30x. I don't know why I'm your hero. I shouldn't be your hero. I'm nobody's hero. Sometimes I consider myself an anti-hero, but nonetheless, good morning. Welcome back. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, futures under a bit of pressure here ahead of Thursday's open. S&P futures down 0.27%, the Dow futures down 0.28%, and NASDAQ leading the way lower at 0.43%. Let's take a look at some insights from analysts, some cues from last session. Consumer discretionary, energy, and information technology stocks led the S&P 500 gains on Wednesday, though real estate and utilities ended up falling. Traders analyzed the Federal Reserve's January meeting minutes, which we talked about yesterday, which exposed significant disagreements among officials concerning the future of interest rates. We'll keep tabs on this as we get closer to the March meeting. Although the records indicated that some policymakers discussed possible rate increases to combat persistent inflation, market participants maintained their outlook for 2 rate reductions before the year concludes. And indeed, that's still the camp that I'm in. I am not expecting any of those, though, until the back half of the year. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.1%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.47%. The CME's watch tool is pricing in a 94% likelihood that we hold at the next meeting in March. Now, we have several stocks in focus for you here today. The first one is going to be DoorDash. The ticker here is DASH, D-A-S-H. It jumped 13.57% in the pre-market on Thursday, despite posting weaker than expected fourth quarter results, as it expects the first quarter marketplace gross order value, or GOV, in a range of 31 to 31.8 billion and adjusted EBITDA in the range of 675 to 775 million. DoorDash, by the way, adjusted EPS of 48 cents misses the 60-cent estimate, and sales of 3.955 billion slightly missed the estimate of 3.993 billion. Never used DoorDash. Let me know if any of you folks enjoy trading DoorDash. The next stock on our list is going to be eBay. This is ticker EBAY, and it soared 7.87% after reporting better than expected fourth quarter financial results. It also announced a definitive agreement with Etsy, ticker ETSY, to acquire fashion marketplace Depop. Now, eBay adjusted EPS of 141 beat the 135 estimate. Sales of 2.965 billion beat the estimate of 2.878 billion. They see a Q1 adjusted EPS of 153 to 159. That was versus the 148 estimate, so a nice raise there. And they see sales of 3 to 3.05 billion. That was versus an estimate of 2.794 billion. So a nice guidance raise there for Q1. Q1 GAAP EPS of 114 to 120. That was versus the 114 estimate. The next stock on our list is going to be Lockheed Martin, ticker LMT. It rose 0.47% as it announced that it has been awarded a foreign military sales contract through Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Wright-Pat as they call it, to deliver the C-130J training devices and upgrades to the Royal Australian Air Force. The next stock on our list is going to be Interactive Strength, and the ticker on this one is TRNR. It gained 12.47% following a definitive agreement to acquire game-based connected fitness company Ergata. The last stock on our list is Walmart. Walmart tumbled 1.5% as analysts expect it to report quarterly earnings of 73 cents per share on revenue of 190.43 billion prior to the opening bell. That report is out. Walmart sees adjusted EPS of 63 cents to 65 cents. They see sales here of 169.74 billion to 171.38 billion. They saw Q1 adjusted EPS, they saw full year 27 adjusted EPS of 275 to 285. That was versus the 296 estimate. And they see sales at 731.124 billion to 738.188 billion. That was versus the estimate of 748 billion. All right, let's take a look at the SPY chart and see where we are, still in that sideways range, huh? Yep, indeed. Now, yesterday, we did actually continue the rally, although it wasn't terribly strong. We pushed up out of the open. We basically ran up to about 689-ish, thereabouts, and really couldn't clear that out. Now, when we look at the daily chart here, it becomes clear exactly what happened. We continued our bounce from the bullish candle that we put in when holding the 100-day. We traded up to the 50-day. Yesterday, during the regular session, we actually traded through the 50-day, which made us look to see if we were going to be able to close above that level. We were not able to do that. We actually did test that 689 area. That's right where the 20-day is. The result here is that it looks like we were rejected by these moving averages. So we continue to trade sideways. We're actually compressing a little bit here. And today we start beneath the 50 and beneath the 20. And as I just reported there, futures are down slightly here in the pre-market. We'll see if that turns around at all. But key levels here, They're basically the same ones that we've been looking at. It's going to be that 50-day one, or excuse me, 687.31. Downside level is going to be 679.90. You just want to call that 680. I totally get it. I would agree with you on that. So we shall see where the SPY ends up going here today and how the broader market affects our trades. Let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. Jeremy Siegel, maintaining a constructive outlook on the U.S. economy, suggesting that recent data provides a backdrop for expansion of the bull market rather than its derailment. He highlights a sweet spot in the labor market where jobless claims signal resilience without overheating, alongside a significant near 2% annual gain in weekly pay that is meaningfully improving consumer purchasing power. This cooling inflation and rising real income, he argues, creates an environment where the Federal Reserve has ample room to continue lowering interest rates. While AI-driven disruption fears have introduced market anxiety and repriced entire industries, Siegel views this volatility as a typical reaction to technological revolutions. And indeed, this is something that we have been discussing at great length with a lot of our traders, especially on Happy Hour, which has a lot of very seasoned, very experienced traders that lived through the tech boom in 2000, as well as the global financial crisis. So we'll see if their wisdom and insight can help us with any of this. He contends that these advancements will ultimately expand productivity and real incomes across diverse sectors like financials and healthcare. Rather than a recessionary threat, he interprets the accelerating output per hour as a prosperity signal that could even make a 4-day work week viable. Now, I'm going to remain skeptical on that. I don't see that. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that would love that. I mean, hell, if I only worked 4 days, I don't think I'd be all that upset. Or if I was required, I would say, I don't think I'd be all that upset. But I got to be honest, I think that there's a gigantic swath of people in this country that don't necessarily mind, right? They do things that they're passionate about. Do you think any of these AI workers or any of these people working on AI projects are just going to be like, we're just going to work 4 days instead of 5, or in some cases 7? I'm willing to bet. I just don't see it. We'll see if this happens. I remain skeptical. I'll change my opinion when we get other facts on that. For investors, he sees valuation support in the continued healthy market rotation towards non-tech sectors trading at reasonable multiples. Now, as far as economic data, we are waiting for the PCE tomorrow. That should be our big print of the week. But the initial jobless claims for the week ending February 14th and December's U.S. trade deficit data will all be released today by 8:30. That's coming up here in 15 minutes. Also, the Minneapolis Fed President Neil Kashkari will speak at 9, and December's leading economic indicator data will be out by 10. So we do have some data here today, although the real big data is not coming until tomorrow. Okay, let's talk about the big story on everyone's mind. That is Iran here. Crude oil prices rose early on Thursday. Actually, let me take a quick check here. Yep, crude is still up 1.58%, 66.09 for the crude futures. Crude oil prices rose early on Thursday as an impasse in diplomatic negotiations coincided with heightened military posturing, forcing traders to recalculate the geopolitical risks embedded in global energy markets. The rally follows a critical stalemate in Geneva, where indirect nuclear talks between Washington and Tehran have stalled. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt confirmed that while progress was made, the two nations continue to stand, quote, far apart, end quote, on several issues. The administration warned that Iran would be, quote, very wise to make a deal, end quote, as far as the U.S., continues to increase its air and naval assets in the Middle East. This is the tension that everyone's talking about, the back and forth here. Tensions were further inflamed by a post by President Trump, stop me if you've heard that before, suggesting that Diego Garcia Air Base might be utilized to eradicate a potential attack, end quote, if a deal is not reached. Iran responded with defiance. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei warned of weapons capable of sending U.S. aircraft carriers to the bottom of the sea, end quote, while Tehran issued notices for planned rocket launches. I'll remain skeptical of that, too. I beg your pardon. Oil benchmark responded sharply to the deteriorating headlines, with Brent crude rising 1.49% to 71.40 and WTI crude reaching 66.02. As just mentioned, we are currently at 66.09, so we're right at about the same price there. Despite the aggressive rhetoric, market analyst Matt Simpson noted that price action trumps the narrative, suggesting that traders are currently pricing a risk premium far rather than imminent war. The near-term trajectory of oil remains tethered to these pressure tactics. While a limited strike remains a wild card, the technical structure of WTI is considered constructive as it holds above the $62 support zone. However, experts warn that any disruption in the Strait of Hormuz, which we again talked about yesterday, a primary artery for global supply, could cause volatility to expand far beyond the current levels. West Texas Intermediate crude prices, as tracked by the USO, are up 15.14% year to date. This is definitely something that we are going to be watching. Indeed, Big B's gas prices are headed up. That's actually been one of the really good inputs that has kept inflation low, despite all of the panic from people. Okay, let's get to some individual stocks. We'll start with the chart on all of these. And the first one, I want to call this a show favorite because I feel like we talk and trade this thing all of the time. It is Carvana. Now, the noticeable part here, first of all, let me start by zooming out. We had this nice broadening formation here, and we had identified this resistance area up top that we did break through, but we actually created a double top above that. And now we're trading back down through these levels that we had identified. That includes the trend line and the breakout level. We've also given up a lot of these moving averages. Now, most recently, and the key here, we've gave up the 200. And yesterday, really the past 2 days, we tried to trade back up and recapture that. You've heard me say that one of my favorite swing setups is exactly this. You lose a key moving average like the 200-day, and then you very quickly, within 3 or 4 days, recapture that level. Well, it looked like Carvana was trying to do that yesterday, could not recapture. Now we get earnings. Carvana down 8.9% here in the pre-market. This is what the intraday chart looks like. So the initial impulse move actually took us down to 280. Since then, we've traded back, 50 points? Well, what's the actual low here? 273. We're back up here at nearly 330. I mean, that's almost a 55. That's 54 points in change from the bottom to where we're at now. Part of me wonders if Carvana somehow closes the rest of this gap and then goes red to green. That would make for an interesting trade. I have no position on Carvana. I will be checking in on this. One more thing to mention here. Big shout out to Jay Rice, because we've talked about this before. Lemonade is actually trading higher here. They had earnings before the open, but they're also tied to Carvana with some of their insurance services, if I'm not mistaken. So we had talked about the relation here with Lemonade and Carvana, and it looks like we're seeing a little bit of that here today. I'm curious to know what your folks' trade plan is, if any, on Carvana. Is it a day trade? Is it a swing trade? Now that it looks like we're trying to break this low here, does it look like we're going to maybe 295 or any of that? I don't. You folks are going to have to tell me. Let's take a look at the story here, though. Carvana shares slipped in pre-market trading on Thursday as investors weighed fresh earnings details and cost pressures. The online used vehicle retailer delivered stronger revenue than expected, yet mounting operational expenses and short seller scrutiny shaped early sentiment around the stock. We're no stranger to the short reports, especially here on Carvana. Carvana posted fourth quarter revenue of nearly $5.6 billion, surpassing analyst projections that tracked closer to $5.26 billion. Company also disclosed earnings of $4.22 per share. Per a Reuters report, Carvana faced higher than expected costs from vehicle inspections, repairs, and detailing across multiple production sites during the quarter. Higher retail depreciation also tightened per unit economics. Executives outlined plans to expand retail sales volume and adjusted EBITDA throughout 2026. Leaders expect sequential involvement in both metrics during the first quarter as operational efficiency improves. CEO Ernie Garcia said, quote, "We remain firmly on track to our goal of selling 3 million retail units a year at 13.5% adjusted EBITDA margin by 2030 to 2035, end quote. The company plans to prioritize scalable profitability while maintaining disciplined inventory management. With used car prices coming down, we'll see how well they are able to do that. Carvana also pushed back against allegations from short sellers Gotham City Research, which questioned past earnings disclosures. That was from Reuters. Last month, Gotham City Research claimed that Carvana overstated its earnings for 23 to 24 by more than $1 billion and is overly reliant on related parties for financial stability. The report also predicts that Carvana's upcoming 10K filings will be delayed and may require restatements, further complicating the company's financial outlook. A Carvana spokesperson told Benzinga in January that the report is, quote, inaccurate and intentionally misleading, end quote, adding that all related party transactions are properly disclosed. Now, some analyst targets on this. Needham analyst Chris Pierce reiterated a buy, maintains a $500 price target. That is huge upside from where we're at here today. BTIG analyst Marvin Fong maintains Carvana with a buy, but lowers the price forecast from $535 to $455. Still a nice premium from where we're at now. So we'll see here on Carvana. If any of you folks have a trade going on Carvana or are looking to trade one, I definitely want to hear it. Let's talk about that. Now, the next stock that we want to talk about, another earnings stock here. This is going to be DoorDash. We mentioned it in the stocks to watch earlier. Here's what it looks like. This, as a reminder, one of Red Dog's favorite stocks to trade here. So I am sure that he's going to be trading this. Here's what it looks like on the daily chart. We closed yesterday at 173.38. Easy for me to say. And today, with the earnings pop here, we're up 6.26%. This takes us above the 500. So far, looking like an attempt to recapture the 500-day moving average here. This would be great because we also have the pitched down 20-day moving average, which has been very indicative of the trend, the short-term trend that the stock is in. Maybe, just maybe, we can recapture that 20-day as well. Current price here, 184.40 in the pre-market. The 20-day moving average is at 190.57, and the 500-day moving average is at 181.37. So can we continue the move up here on DoorDash? Can we close above the 500-day moving average and make this a little more appealing to swing trade here? Sean says, DoorDash double charged me for an order. They are my enemy, puts forever, lol. So again, I totally get it. One of the things we were talking about yesterday is I'm cheap when it comes to this. I don't like spending extra money for delivery unless I absolutely have to. I've never used DoorDash in my life. I've only used Uber Eats a handful of times. I've never used DoorDash. When I talk to my friends about DoorDash, Sean, they have stories similar to you. They get the wrong order. They don't get enough food. A lot of cases, they have a family that's waiting on dinner, and then everything's screwed up, and it creates more. It's just don't understand it. Not for me, but makes for a good stock to trade. Despite initially slipping in after-hours trading following a mixed fourth quarter earnings report, DoorDash shares are rebounding in Thursday's pre-market. The shift comes as investors look beyond the headline misses, adjusted earnings of 48 cents per share versus the street's 60-cent estimate, and revenue of $3.96 billion that trailed the $3.99 billion consensus, and instead focusing on the company's operating strength. Total orders rose 32% year over year to 903 million. That actually feels like a good number. While marketplace GOV increased 39% to 29.7 billion, DoorDash's first quarter GOV outlook of 31 billion to 31.8 billion points to continued momentum. So again, traders seem to be looking ahead here and actually see some blue skies for DoorDash. The company exited 2025 with more than 56 million monthly active users and over 35 million Dash Pass, Wolt Plus, and Deliveroo Plus members. To be honest, this is a fun word to say, Deliveroo. U.S. restaurant marketplace GOV posted its second highest growth rate in 15 quarters, while grocery and retail unit economics improved both year over year and sequentially, with more than 30% of U.S. Monthly average users engaging in those categories in December. Deliveroo's fourth quarter contribution to adjusted EBITDA also came in slightly ahead of expectations, reinforcing confidence that DoorDash's expanding international footprint is beginning to generate meaningful returns. With broader markets under pressure, the Nasdaq fell 0.35% on Wednesday. The S&P declined 0.26%, and the Russell dropped 0.53%. DoorDash's pre-market strength stands out. The move suggests investors are leaning into the company's longer-term growth narrative despite near-term earnings shortfalls. We already just took a look at the chart as well. Now, some more breakdown here on what's going on currently. DoorDash is trading at 11.5% above its 20-day simple moving average and 8.2% above its 100-day moving average, indicating short-term momentum. Shares have increased approximately 25% over the past 12 months and are currently positioned closer to their 52-week highs than lows. The RSI is at 52.6, which is considered neutral, suggesting that the stock is neither overbought nor oversold. Meanwhile, the MACD is at 1/10 above its signal line at 0.08, indicating bullish momentum for the stock. The combination of a neutral RSI and bullish MACD suggests mixed momentum, indicating that while the stock is stable, there's potential for upward movement. We have key resistance here of 200 and a key support at 180. And we also covered some of that here. The analyst consensus, Guggenheim, they have a buy, but they lowered their price target to 275. That was back at the end of January. Stifel has a hold on this, price target 224, and KeyBank is overweight and lowered their price target on January 20th to 275. So let me know if you have any trades here on DoorDash. Now, one more thing here regarding the whole data center trade, Tesla, the whole nine yards. Short seller Jim Chanos, I'm going to give you both sides of this. Short seller Jim Chanos calls Elon Musk's orbital data center goals AI snake oil. Producer, this might make for a crispy poll question. Is orbital data center goals AI snake oil? And what does the group think of that? Do you guys think that this is snake oil, or do you think that this is legitimate? It also goes on to say that they need to see actual savings here. Short seller Jim Chanos has criticized the tech industry's push towards developing orbital data centers, outlining that space-based data centers would cost more. That seems rather obvious. Maybe we can put one in Chanos's backyard and see how he likes it instead. I would imagine he'd fight that, right? In a post on the social media platform X on Wednesday, Chanos quoted a video that talked about Tesla and SpaceX CEO's Elon Musk's vision to put data centers in orbit following the XAI merger to SpaceX. Quote, "This is more AI snake oil from the Silicon Valley promoter class," end quote. Chanos added that the annual cost of electricity per milliwatt for AI data centers hovers around the 600,000 mark. The figures make up for about 5 to 7% of revenues on recently announced deals, Chanos said. Launch, radiation, insurance, and redundancy costs would be greater. Now, if anyone wants any of his actual tweets to follow, you are absolutely welcome. They're linked here in the article that I just threw in the chat. There's also some accompanying videos. We won't waste time playing that, but if you want to, there's a lot in here. So if you want to follow along with it, there you go. He expanded on these views, sharing that grid power permitting was an issue, but it is being addressed. Quote, "Actual power is in abundance in the U.S., particularly when energy companies partner with private power producers," end quote. Chanos also warned against failing for orbital data center hype, adding stakeholders in the sector for actual cost figures and savings when talking about the benefits of AI compute in space. Now, Michael Burry has made some headlines along this as well. Investor Michael Burry of The Big Short fame has said that nuclear energy could help bridge the gap between supply and demand for AI data centers, urging President Trump and Vice President Vance to fast-track a $1 trillion nuclear power and expansion plan. We've talked a lot about that, too. That seems to be the way to go. But word of warning, those plants, they take years to build and maybe even further to get online. Independent power producers like Constellation Energy, Vistra, and NRG Energy could also stand to benefit as AI data centers' demand for power increases. Now, the Federal Communications Commission, or FCC, has invited SpaceX to comment on its orbital data center plans, which include a fleet of over 1 million non-geostationary satellites, or NSGOs, placed 500 to 2,000 kilometers above Earth. The company has sought several waivers from the agency. Now, perhaps on the other side of that, perhaps SpaceX CEO Elon Musk has predicted that SpaceX Starship rockets would be able to launch every hour in the near future. On Wednesday, Musk quoted a post on social media platform X, which showcased how SpaceX was conducting more launches than its competitors in 2026. I'll go ahead and drop this link to this story, which also has the accompanying tweets, graphs, and charts for your consumption. Quoting that post, a user by the name of Brian Basson on X outlined SpaceX's launch timelines for the rest of February, which included 7 Falcon 9 launches from locations in California and Florida. Quote, total domination by SpaceX, end quote. Responding to his post, Musk made the Starship prediction, quote, it will get really nutty when Starship is launching every hour in 3 years, end quote, expressing bullish sentiments over the rocket. Now, that would make creating data centers in space a lot more plausible. If this pans, I don't know if this is true, but if this pans out, I think you can probably end up building those data centers up there. The Starship rocket would be instrumental for SpaceX to fulfill Musk's ambition of colonizing Mars, as well as a SpaceX pivot away from the red planet into the moon, in line with NASA's Artemis missions. Last month, Musk had outlined the goal of producing 10,000 units of the Starship rocket annually as SpaceX gears up for its IPO, which will reportedly take place in June, coinciding with Musk's birthday. SpaceX also acquired Musk's artificial intelligence startup xAI, with the combined SpaceX xAI entity now valued at close to $1.25 trillion with a T, putting it close to Musk's Tesla, which has a valuation of over $1.5 trillion and currently the most valuable car maker in the world. Meanwhile, Musk and the tech industry's goal of putting AI data centers in orbit via solar-powered satellites was criticized by short seller Jim Chanos, as we just discussed. We'll see if they're able to make any headway towards that goal. On the other hand, the FCC has invited SpaceX to comment on its plans also, as we just discussed. So it'll be interesting to see how this actually pans out. I'm excited, and I am definitely still interested in that SpaceX xAI IPO. All right. Next stock, we'll actually start with the chart. Let me break up some of this news here for you. Let's talk about Boeing, because there's some more news here with Boeing. Boeing, remember, this is a top pick for me in 2026. It's been doing all right here so far. Would really like to see it break this trend line, though. And I've been saying this basically since the turn of the calendar this year. It's great that we're above the downsloping trend line that originated back. This was before COVID. Yeah, the pre-COVID highs. It's great that we're above that. We did that early in 2026. But the next step is going to be this pesky trend line. This originates from the COVID recovery high in March of 2021. It connects a number of these attempts for Boeing to break out, and it sure seems to me like Boeing is gearing up for another potential attempt to break this barrier down and move higher. I think that if we do if we break this area here at 257, I really think 300 is likely next. I really think 300 is likely next here on Boeing. So we'll see. Now, they landed a massive Vietnam jet order. Boeing stock rose on Thursday after the company announced 2 major aircraft orders in Vietnam. The deals include the order for up to 40 787 Dreamliner jets from Sun Phu Quoc Airways. I'm glad I didn't mix that one up. Might have said an accidental swear word in there. Glad I didn't slip that. Izzy, you know what? I probably answered you in chat the last couple of days. I am not in Detroit. We're doing some of these more professional backgrounds. Might have offended people with the weightlifting and the Chicago Blackhawks. There might be some salty Red Wings fans out there. Can't confirm that, but nonetheless, no, I am not in Detroit. I think I answered you the last 2 days, but I might have been typing it in chat. And since you're in Twitter, you probably didn't see it. So sorry about that, buddy, but no, not in Detroit. Appreciate you checking out here. Okay, sorry, let me get back to the story here. Described as the largest wide-body aircraft order in Vietnam's history and a separate commitment from Vietnam Airlines for 50 737-8 MAX airplanes, The new Vietnam-based airline Sun Phu Quoc Airways plans to leverage the 787-9's long-range capabilities to link its hub at Phu Quoc International Airport with major cities across Asia, Europe, and North America. The 787-9 passenger comfort and operational efficiency also align with the carrier's strategy to support and expand Vietnam's tourism sector. The 787 Dreamliner program has had significant market impact in Southeast Asia. The order positions Boeing favorably as airlines in the country scale international connectivity and long-haul capacity. In a separate Vietnam-focused announcement, Boeing and Vietnam Airlines said the flag carrier finalized its first Boeing single-aisle order of 50 737-8 MAX airplanes. The 737-8 aircraft will support Vietnam Airlines' domestic and regional expansion as air travel demands continue to rise across Southeast Asia, while strengthening the airline's fleet modernization plans and long-term partnerships with Boeing. The pairing of the 737 MAX for short and medium haul growth with the 787 Dreamliner for long haul routes underscores Boeing's positioning across Vietnam's full range of aviation expansion needs: domestic scale up, regional connectivity, and international reach. So this actually sounds like a really good deal here for Boeing. We'll see if this has enough strength to bring it higher here. Thank you, Creation. Go Hawks. I appreciate that. I'm glad I have some support here on that whole thing. Anyway, just kind of looking, I know we just took a look at the chart, but just kind of going over some of the technical numbers there. RSI is at just about 52. So again, it's kind of in no man's land. MACD is at 2.69, below its signal line at 3.57, indicating bearish pressure on the stocks. We'll see if that turns around. The combination of neutral RSI and bearish MACD suggests mixed momentum, just like it did in the last stock we took a look at. Key resistance of 248. I'm also looking for a 250 break, and we have key support down there at 229. Now, let's see. Boeing's next earnings is scheduled for April 22nd. They're looking at a loss of 26 cents on the EPS. That's up from a loss of 49 cents. They're looking at 22.07 billion in revenue and PE of 96.3x. That indicates a premium valuation. So as far as analysts go, Jefferies has a buy with a 295 target. That's a recent one from February 2nd, or semi-recent. JP Morgan is overweight. They have a price target of 270, and RBC Capital has an outperform and a price target of 275. It's also in several ETFs, the ITA, which I think some of you folks have traded before, the PFF, and the PPA as well. And then one more thing, one of the reasons this is significant, I appreciate that they threw this in the article here, because Boeing carries such a heavy weight in these funds, any significant inflows or outflows are likely to trigger automatic buying or selling of the stock. Something else to consider there. Okay, last news story here, then we'll do some tweets, and then we'll just go to ticker time. Boy, we've got 20 minutes till 13 shows up. We're definitely going to check out power. I hope you folks have some other stocks that you want to take a look at. However, last story here, after AMD, OpenAI partners with Tata to build a massive 1 gigawatt AI data center in India. Sam Altman was in India yesterday giving some interviews, made some headlines from that. On Thursday, OpenAI deepened its push into India with plans for one of the country's largest AI infrastructure projects. OpenAI has partnered with the Tata Group to expand artificial intelligence capabilities in India, including the development of a large-scale data center that could eventually reach 1 gigawatt in capacity. The announcement was made by Tata Sons chairman Natarajan, I knew I was going to screw it up, Natarajan Chandrasekaran at the AI Impact Summit in 2026, where OpenAI CEO Sam Altman is currently in attendance. The collaboration will be executed alongside Tata Consultancy Services, the conglomerate's technology arm. And as part of the agreement, TCS will initially build a 100 megawatt AI-focused data center with plans to scale it up to 1 gigawatt. Beyond infrastructure, the partnership aims to integrate OpenAI's technologies across Tata Group companies and TCS's global client base. Earlier this week, AMD also said it is expanding its AI data center collaboration with TCS in India. This move was seen as targeting market share from NVIDIA in the rapidly growing AI infrastructure space. So hang on to that. This ain't over just yet. Okay, we're going to do a couple of street tweets here. Let me queue up Benzinga Pro. because we'll be looking at that for the charts. Let's go ahead and do some of these street tweets. This is my favorite one. This saw this yesterday. All right. So this is not fresh as of this morning. This was from yesterday. Microsoft says Office bug exposed customers' confidential emails to Copilot AI. My initial reaction was they did the meme. They literally did the meme. There was so much worry about, well, we don't want to use AI. We certainly don't want it to look at emails. We don't want to put proprietary information because at some point there's going to be a data breach. There's going to be some type of event that causes some of this private information to be shared where it was not intended to be shared. And lo and behold, Microsoft says that some bug caused those confidential emails to be shared with Copilot. Now, I don't know what the end result of this is going to be, but this has been literally since we started talking about AI and some of the AI tools and businesses not using some of the AI tools, this has been something that they have feared, and now it looks like it's happened. Now, will this have a substantial impact on some of the AI names? Too early to tell, I think. I do think that what this may do is slow down some of the adoption for businesses using some of these AI tools. Producer, let me know what you think. If we used Copilot here at work and a bunch of our confidential emails were exposed, how do you think that would go over? Just out of curiosity. I meant to ask you that before we started here today, but it is what it is. Okay, producer, next tweet. Next tweet here is from the Kobisi letter. These folks have been doing a really, really good job. Global bond market returns are deteriorating. 87% of bonds worldwide currently trade at yield below 5%. In fact, 14% of bond yields less than 2%, 32% are less than 3%, and 60% are less than 4%. I understand a lot of numbers in there. Not trying to trick y'all this early or anything like that. Tweet is in the chat if you want to save it for reference. With inflation running at about 3%, this means that the vast majority of bond investors are earning just 2% real return per year, while roughly 1/3 are effectively earning nothing. This also does not factor in transaction costs or taxes. By comparison, the 18.4 trillion of global bonds had negative yields in 2020 before falling to zero in early 2023. Are global bond markets gradually heading back towards sub-zero yields? And if that's true, do you think that's going to be good for stocks? Remember, falling bond yields can lead to higher stock prices, as lower yields often indicate lower borrowing costs and can boost investor confidence in economic growth. So we'll see here if the falling bond yields actually lead to the breakout that we're kind of looking for or waiting for in the market. You folks will have to let me know. Okay. That does it here for Street Tweets. Producer, we have a commercial that we have to play. Otherwise, they're just going to get rid of us and the show. So we're going to go ahead and play the commercial. It's very, very short. It's actually extremely well done. And before you guys all yell at me, just know that I went to fight for you. I said, look, if we're going to do these, let's please do them in the pre-market instead of in the regular session. So that's what we're going to do right now. Producer, take it away.
Still guessing which stocks to trade? Meet the stock screener that does the heavy lifting. Filter by price, volume, change, market cap, dividend in seconds. Or rank stocks using our proprietary value, quality, momentum, or growth filters, plus dozens of additional filters just a click away. No noise, just stocks that actually matter. Scan smarter, trade faster.
Okay, there you go. Oh, really quick, Marty here. Ryan, what was his name again? Yeah, it was Natrajan Chandrasekaran. Nice try, trying to get me tripped up there. The more I say it, the stronger I grow with saying those names. Don't even step, Marty. You don't want that smoke You don't want that smoke. Okay, all jokes aside here, let's take a look at some charts that you folks want to take a look at. Again, we've got, 14 minutes until we have 13 here. So I know that a lot of you folks have stocks that you look at every single day. I don't know where Jay Harris is. I expected an Avago mention here already today. Looks like we'll start with PWR. That was one from earlier this morning. It looks like Brian mentioned HIMS. Lion mentioned KGC. So we'll take a look at all of those real quick. Samel, nice commercial. Thank you. You know what? I said the same thing. I was like, man, whoever created that was super well done. It was short, to the point, easy to understand, very clean looking, not a whole lot of stuff going on the screen. I like that a lot. So I appreciate that. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and take a look at PWR. This is going to be Quanta Services. And as mentioned earlier, they are trading higher after reporting better than expected Q4 financial results and issuing full year 26 adjusted EPS and sales guidance above estimates. So you get the trifecta there. Okay. Stock is up 5.3%. This followed a decline of about 1% yesterday. This is what it looks like in the pre-market here. And I think that this is notable because this is actually breaking above one of the other resistance areas that we set on Thursday of last week. All right. So not only did we break above that, but it actually looks like we're kind of flagging above that. We're trying to hold above this level here. This, to me, might be a candidate today for a gap and go trade. I understand, a bit expensive here at $542 per share. Not everyone's cup of tea, if you will. But nonetheless, good report. Nice pre-market action here. So we'll see if we get something out of this. Again, the daily chart, this is one of those things where it's just like, these are the types of stocks that you want in your long-term account. I mean, just up and to the right. Just consistently. All pullbacks inevitably get bought if you're patient enough here. I would not chase this for a long-term swing or an investment when it's this extended from some of those moving averages. This would be more of a short-term trade just to try and capture some alpha. However, if this stock ends up pulling back, like if we get this kind of correction that a lot of us are waiting for, stock pulls back in, this might be a decent one to add here, in particular if you can get this back around $450. Right, this 100-day moving average. Maybe we do come into the 200. Maybe it comes in enough where the 200 rises to continue supporting it. That would also be pretty bullish. But pretty awesome chart. Do y'all know you have two of the same live posted? Dude, I don't even know what you mean by that. So probably not. Maybe the producer knows what you mean. I don't know. Sorry, Jonas, not sure what you're talking about. Nonetheless, here, PWR, pretty intriguing chart here. Let me know if this is what you want to. The stream is live twice today. I mean, we're twice as nice today. We're twice as good today. I don't know. Spin that positively for me, producer, would you? Would you? Okay. So Quanta Services, I have no position on this. It is worth noting here that we actually still have a little bit of room. If you look at the RSI quite a bit, although we're near the top end of the range, we're not actually overbought yet. So perhaps we have some more room to maybe take out some of those recent highs there. We'll see. Okay. Power Services. What was the next one? HIMS. Someone else. I think this was Brian that brought this up. Let me see if I can find that here. You might have given me some context on that. And it looks like I got some more tickers here. BWXT. I swear, if I pull up a penny stock here, I don't think that is one of them. But if I pull up a penny stock here during the session where we're trying to cover some of these bigger stocks, I'm going to be upset. Okay, so we added BW. Oh, I got the ticker wrong. That's not going to work. BWXT and then KMI added to the list. Okay, HIMS. Let me see if I can find the context that Brian gave here. HIMS making a $1.15 billion acquisition is such a bad move. Is that what that said? Such a bold move at the moment. And this is a good pop to short. Okay, so here's what the daily chart looks like. We have been talking about HIMS. This thing has really kind of fallen out of bed recently. Now we are back to a consolidation area, and this goes all the way back to the beginning of 2024. So perhaps this range might provide some support. I would say maybe even 13, down to 13 here. You could look at this. Earnings are in 4 days. So just keep that in mind if you're going to end up taking this as a trade. if we look where we're at here today, at first glance, this actually looks all right, right? It looks like perhaps the sellers are exhausted. Now we're trying to trade sideways. We just, in the zoomed out chart, we just took a look that this was a consolidation area before. So it makes sense that the stock is kind of trading sideways here. And we are totally oversold. So a potential bounce back makes a lot of sense on this. Here's what the 5-minute looks like. And here's what you have. So you had this impulse move up to 750. We've bled a lot of that back now. If we take a look at the news, Him and Hers announces an agreement to acquire Eucalyptus, accelerating its vision to become the leading global consumer health platform. The deal's valued at $1.15 billion, as Brian outlined, including $240 million cash at close, expanding into Australia and Japan, and deepening presence in the UK, Germany, and Canada. Now, Brian, I share the concern about spending this amount of money. Hims is going through a lot of trouble right now. The lawsuit from NVO, the inability to sell some of these compounded weight loss drugs. It looks to me, and I might be wrong about this, but on the surface, this looks to me like they're trying to kind of expand into other international markets to bolster their revenue. That would be my guess here, but I get it. $1.15 billion right now, maybe not the best idea. Looking at this, they have $345 million in cash. The upfront payment was $250 million. So I don't know. I would put it this way: it's got to work, doesn't it? This would have to work. Now, to your point about that being a bold move, it kind of looks like the market agrees with you, Bri. We had the impulse move off the news, and this has just been selling, right? This has just been selling it back down. And so maybe the market is also having the same trepidation that you are. Positive Trader, isn't NVO suing Hims over producing their weight loss pill without permission or something to that effect? Yes, it's the whole compounding thing. They're taking business away from NVO by compounding this drug and then selling it at a much cheaper generic price. That's absolutely what's going on here. So in any case, we'll see how this trades here today. I have no plan for this. Brian, let me know if you're looking to trade this today, or is this kind of a hands-off for you? Again, just kind of looking at the reason that this is appealing is because if this can gain any type of upside momentum, we actually have a gap above. We have a couple of moving averages that serve as targets if the stock continued to rally here. And it does look like that would rally off of a support level. So I get it. I'm just not sure if this is going to kind of take off here. I'm not sure if this news is going to be well received. FDA is squashing the compounding that allowed them to sell knockoffs. That's going to be trouble for business. Maybe that's why they need to expand to other countries. So let me know if you guys are trading Hims here today. And then, okay, so we did Power, Hims, KJC. This is Kinross Gold, right, Line? Yeah, Kinross Gold. So no surprise, another gold stock. This chart's actually pretty interesting. If you think gold is going to trade higher here today, hang on. If you think gold is going to trade higher here today, perhaps Kinross at a pretty interesting spot. First of all, we're butting up against the 20-day moving average. The value is 34.47, and our current value in the pre-market here is 34.56. So technically, we're above it. Want to see if we can push above that. But once again, gap above. This gap fills at about 36.5. So, and then another high here at just about $39. So I tell you what, the chart looks good as long as the gold trend can remain higher. And if you are in that camp, I totally see why you're looking at this for upside here. It does look like it did a really good job holding the 50-day moving average. So perhaps we break above, start building above the 20, maybe even close that gap and make a move towards some of those highs. This is what I would have here on Kinross. Did we have any other news that I might have missed on this? Yesterday after hours. Yes, as a matter of fact, we did. Yesterday after hour, they reported fourth quarter full year results. They announced a 14% annual increase to the cash dividend. That's pretty good news. They raised their quarterly dividend. It was 3.5 cents. They raised it to 4 cents per share. There you go. There you go. Adjusted EPS of 67 cents beat the 59-cent estimate, and sales of $2.023 billion beat the $1.988 billion. With the price of gold moving the way it is, not surprised that they were able to beat that. So KJC, let me know Let me know what kind of levels that you have. I would imagine that you're trading this on a break higher from the 20-day. So Lion, let me know on that one. Okay. You guys are asking for Broadcom. Let me add that to the list here as well. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. It's cool. Just letting you know, appreciate you, Jonas. Now I understand what you mean. Thank you, producer, for helping. And then, yeah, appreciate you, Yassine. Hit that like. Help support us here. Hit that like. It's free. It doesn't really take any energy to do that. Joe mentioning PanW on short sale restriction today. Okay, so maybe we'll see a move higher here. PanW was actually a pretty good scalp yesterday. Let me actually just jump ahead to that. This was a pretty good trade yesterday. This was proof of concept for the new indicator that I vibe coded as well. So that's pretty nice. So nice little bottoming here, nice little move higher. This purple area here. This is going to be a fair value gap above. We couldn't quite get to it. So part of me wonders if we get to that again here today. If we do, I would say that this 156.25 would represent an initial resistance here on Palo Alto. We'll see if we end up getting that. Here we go. Align. I own the stock. I have Kinross Gold 32 calls that expire in April. Okay, so really quickly, so I actually think that trade is going to be a good one. First of all, you're already in the money. Lion, do you think that this breaks the 20-day to the upside? I would imagine that you do, being that you have a long position here. But I'll tell you what, if you do get that break to the upside here, that's going to be a good trade. And you have plenty of time for this to materialize. Plenty of time. Let me just ask you tactically, and you don't have to answer, I suppose, if you don't want, but tactically, if the trade does not work, are you letting those expire or do you have a stop? I'm actually not sure how much those contracts are. You'll have to let me know. Let me know if you have a stop or if you would just kind of wait out the entire period and then let the calls expire if the trade didn't work. All right, so we have a couple more to go through. We did PanW. We have a couple more to go through, but we're going to bring in, don't worry, James, BWXT. We will get to that here, but I'm actually going to level this up a little bit. We're going to bring on 13, who is here several minutes early like an absolute boss. Let's go ahead and start our pre-market pulse. 13, good morning. How you doing?
Hello. Don't really give me too much praise. I only came here a little early because there's really not a whole lot on the movers list. So after going through that and writing a few things down, I was like, that's probably going to be about all we're going to look at because it's not a very good list today.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, you can fight me because I'm going to continue to give you praise. There's no question about it. You do great stuff for our group here, but that's okay because we probably have some other bigger stocks. I haven't even looked at Figma yet, which reported some good earnings and might actually be a gap and go trade here today as well. So we have plenty of stuff to look at. We can always tap our excellent chat for taking a look at some more. Do you mind, since the list is short, do you mind if we finish off this list that the chat has already procured for us?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. The next one that I had here is this BWXT, and forgive me because I don't know what this is. So I'm going to have to figure out on the fly here what exactly is going on. This one also running into its 20-day moving average. So very much like Kinross Gold that we just looked at, this at a spot where if it breaks above, perhaps that puts 220 in play. The 220 level, or 220-ish, I should say, it's almost triple toppy up here. So that would be a very significant resistance area. The stock, or the company, excuse me, does report earnings in 4 days from now. Get in there, 13.
So this is actually on my shipbuilding watch list.
Nuclear components. Okay.
This is a company that makes the nuclear components for like submarines and aircraft carriers, large military vessels. So that's what this company does. Yeah, exactly. Nuclear subtech that has monopoly. That's pretty much it.
Okay. I mean, so you actually have, okay, great. Well, damn, I'm glad I saved this till you got on here. Also, really quickly, just kind of referencing our proprietary rankings here. I know we just showed you a commercial that incorporates some of those. 90th percentile in terms of momentum, 75th percentile in terms of quality, and an intact short, medium, and long-term trend. 13, you have any thoughts on the chart or any key levels here for this stock?
Chart a little concerning. Double top is what I see here on a daily chart, and that started forming the first part of the top when we had the institutions sell off at the end of October. That brought us down to about the 168, 169 area. We recovered, went back up to 220, and then we went ahead and lost that as well, and creating the double top. So it looks to me like this could end up coming in a little bit more. I'd be looking towards the 200-day SMA. If we're going to get a full resolution of this double top, then that should take us, let's see here. It's not going to be too great, but that could take us down to about 120. If this is going to turn bearish on us and come in as a result of this double topping pattern here, then it looks to me like 120 is about where we could end up going to, somewhere between there and 130.
Okay.
Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, you guys that are all long and bullish on this, hopefully that doesn't happen there, but a good breakdown nonetheless. And 13, I know you said don't give us too much praise. Can't do that. Cam says 13 is the best guest. I'll be honest, I don't consider 13 a guest. I consider him a staple. I consider him part of the mix, part of the recipe that makes the final product awesome. But we're going to take all of the positive comments whenever we get them. Okay, that was BWXT.
And let's see what those earnings give us, because hopefully if there's something good in there in those earnings, we'll get this pattern invalidated. It's not going to resolve unless we come underneath, I think, 170. So that's what I'd be watching for with this one.
Okay. All right, really good stuff. That was BWXT. Kinder Morgan KMI was the another one that was listed here. Kinder Morgan looks like we are in a breakout, folks. We are in a breakout. Look at this sideways area from November of 2024. The stock just traded sideways. Actually found some support at the 200-day. I'll tell you what, this is another thing. If you ever doubted Mark Petrino that the price chart is a measure of like the traders' not necessarily what's going on at the company, but instead the trader's sentiment. Look at this KMI chart. The stock has done nothing until this recent breakout. The stock has done nothing. It's literally been sideways. The only thing that it did was it moved down to the 200-day where it was supported. Traders bought it right back up into the range. That allowed for all of these moving averages to conglomerate into what looks like the stream from the gun the Ghostbusters used in the movie. That's what that reminds me of. Now,
Proton pack.
Thank you. Across the streams. Anyway, these streams are crossed, and now it looks like we're getting a little bit of a breakout here. So this move above 29 sent us to 30. We consolidated around 30. Now we're taking the next leg higher. So again, as far as like a swing trade here, to me, it looks like the entry trigger already happened. I guess 13, I would ask, well, first of all, I want to get your opinions on the chart, whatever you have. But I would say, do you have maybe a target on this? Maybe I need to look at a monthly.
Yes.
How about that? I need to look at a monthly. Okay,
yes,
so
just you're going to answer all the questions you can ask me. You're probably going to get answered right here.
I'm going to stop talking here because I've had way too much coffee. And I'm going to let you do it now. What do you have for us on Kinder Morgan?
All I was going to get at is as soon as you put on the monthly chart, I think it became pretty clear where the levels are and what we need to watch for. That 20-month SMA, that provided a really good amount of support that
sure did
caused this launch that we've been experiencing over the past couple of months. So I would expect this to continue as long as the price holds above that 20-month SMA. And for me, the next target from here, I think, is going to be 36. When I look to this consolidation on the left from like 2012 to 2015, the $36 area is a very interesting support resistance area that I think the price is running up to. Now we're coming up to some other resistance. Okay. There should be some about 34.50, but I think this is headed to 36.
Okay. All right, good stuff there. Kinder Morgan, KMI, that breakout in play here. Good morning, Jay. It's great to see you. All right, next here, Broadcom. I feel like this is a daily occurrence here. Where's Jay Harris? We need Jay Harris here. We need our Broadcom guy here. Someone else suggested this, but Jay Harris, hope you're doing well out there, buddy. Nonetheless, here's your Broadcom chart. I'm sorry if it's hard to see with the fib drawing over it, but this stock loves its fibs. as Glenn likes to say occasionally. We're currently sitting right here, 330, down just shy of 1%. Earnings in 2 weeks. It's going to be Wednesday, March 4th, after the market closes. We're pretty much right at this trend line here. This trend line represents a previous resistance area that then acted as support once we broke above it. It actually formed a little bit of an island. I wouldn't worry too much about that because recently this move down to the 200-day ended up finally closing that gap that was left below. So probably no concern from that. Does look like we found some pretty good support here. We've been unable to break the 50-day. Now we have the 50-day pitching in towards the 200 days. So a decision point is coming here on Broadcom pretty soon. Do we have a death cross? Do we have a breakout that maybe stops the death cross? If we do have a death cross, are we really looking at kind of 220s in there down by where the 500-day is? Lots of questions. Not 13, I didn't ask you, but I know you have the answers. What do you see in the Broadcom chart here today?
This looks weak to me. I own Broadcom, albeit at lower prices, but it looks a little weak to me, like it's trying to roll over. There are some moving averages that could support it. One is the 50-week SMA. The problem is that when we lost the 20-week SMA, which it had been riding up, it still hasn't been able to recapture that. And I think that's kind of giving us the signal here that it's trying to press lower. So if we do end up going lower, I think that 50-week SMA is going to be the next area of support that we're going to need to see hold up. Beyond that, we have the 20-month SMA that's even lower and might actually be the destination of where this downside goes to, because it's pretty close to the December of 2024 highs. So I think with that high and the 20-month moving average, we could end up getting support in that region, and that's going to be at about 252, 253. So that's what I'd be looking at here for downside if we end up getting it with Broadcom. It will just have to depend on what we get with those earnings, but it looks to me like this is trying to come back in.
Okay, so stop the presses. I ask where Jay Harris is, and Jose Coronado, 4323, says, I'm here. This is my other account. LOL. Okay, good. I was worried for a sec. Now we can continue there. Good to have you. Not surprised. You were the one that asked for Broadcom. There you go. The other thing, and I'm sorry, 13, I was reading some of the chat. Maybe you actually covered this here. The other thing here is that this volume point of control at 346, this is going to be a tough thing to get through. So I know we have the 50-day right beneath it, but this entire area in here around 345, it's going to take a pretty substantial move to get through that. No doubt.
And that $300 spot, that's the closest support that I think we have. When I look at this monthly chart here, I can see that in July and August, this was a resistance area. We finally broke through it in September, been holding above it ever since, including this month when we came down to test that area and rebounded. So looks to me like 300, that psychological level, that's going to be a support area, which if we lose, I think we're going to get our resolution down to the 20-month.
Okay. Okay. Kathy, good morning, Kath. It's good to see you as always. She's going to throw Coupang on here. I can't remember the exact specifics, but I feel like a couple of weeks ago, there was a unusual options trade on Coupang. It was one of those that I just kind of read out throughout the course of the show there. I didn't take any action on it, but nonetheless, here's what the chart looks like. Now, Kathy here said, where is it? Coupang looks good this morning. And I'll be honest with you, I tend to agree with Kathy on this one. First of all, it looks like we did kind of put in a double bottom here. We put in a really nasty sell-off trend here. We hit a bottom, bounced from it, retested that same area, and held. The only way, I can only take that as a good sign here. The next thing that we needed to do was take out the 20-day. And lo and behold, today we are up 6.59%. This is bringing us above the 1878 level for that 20-day moving average. It also closes the gap. Now, we're not done yet. We want to see how this stock closes.
Well, that was weird.
Yeah, there's something going on. This is why I make jokes about Comcast all the time, because like there's nothing wrong. Like the weather is gorgeous outside. I've got this bird in the tree singing me a song. Like nothing is wrong here. And it's just occasionally the internet will just do its little thing.
Oh, lately there's been some really weird things going on with YouTube and X. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. There's been some, like services were down. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But
yeah, I mean,
we're here, so we can.
Yeah, so sorry about that. Anyway, not sure where I dropped off, but nonetheless, when you look at what we're doing here today, this kind of has the makings of maybe another 1950 test and then a potential short-term run here. Kathy, I guess let me know what you think here in terms of what your trading plan is. Take a look at the news here. Today, this morning, Model Front announces general availability of automatic post editing. This is a large language model that's tied to Coupang. Let me see. I'm sorry, I don't know what this is off the top of my head. Let me see if I can figure it out. That's why we need that little AI button here. Here we go. You can get a very substantial increase in MT auto approval without sacrificing quality. Specialist running AI. Okay, sorry, go ahead, 13.
So just looking at the chart here with Coupang, this thing has been riding down the 20-day SMA since the November 4th or 5th, rather, and it has not been able to recapture it until today. It looks like we're trying to open above this, and if we open and close today's candle above 1883, we'll have snapped this, this downtrend that the 20-day moving average has been keeping the price suppressed under. So I think that's going to be one of our earlier signals. If this continues to hold above the 20-day SMA, then I think we're going to get a recapture of that $20 level soon here. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but just some things I'm looking for here, because I think this recapture of the 20-day SMA could be significant.
No question.
See multiple closes above it, and if we get that, we should see prices back over 20 pretty soon.
Okay. All right, good stuff there on Coupang. That was all that I had here from the chat suggested tickers, at least so far. I'm sure we can get some more. We should probably knock those movers out here. We've got 17 minutes till the market opens. We'll do that here real quick. Nikolai is asking in the chat, hey guys, I would like to know how to pre-buy an IPO. Do you have some advice? So this is not something that I do. I've never really had, I guess, enough capital to kind of carelessly is the wrong word, but get involved pre-IPO. I know some brokers you can apply for IPO shares, which you actually get them at the IPO price if you're approved for that. Otherwise, pre-IPO, I mean, I think you would need to be an early investor in some of these where you have shares awarded to you as part of like the ownership group. I don't have any other advice for that. 13, do you have anything on this by chance, or does anyone else in the chat?
Well, my understanding is if you're going to be a pre-IPO investor, you have to come in with certain requirements, like a certain amount of capital. You have to, I think there's even a requirement that it can't be, too much of your own personal estate. And then there's also, which banks, if it's a question of like, an upcoming IPO like SpaceX, there are some private shares available you could get into. The best customers, you'd have to like go and talk to some of these large financial institutions. But so SpaceX you can get from Barron's. Forge Global I didn't know about, but Barron's you can get some SpaceX shares. They're already available. They're just not publicly available on exchanges. So it's really gonna, it's kind of a matter of, who do you know, how preferred are you, and you have to have a lot of money. So it's really going to be some capital requirements, as Itzy's pointing out.
And then this is what I was talking about earlier. You can do this with Thinkorswim as well. You can apply through Robinhood for IPO shares. That's not pre-IPO. That would allow you to take possession of those shares at the IPO price. Jay says, I do. If you can get shares of a pre-IPO, it's crap. The big boys, PE guys, they always get the good stuff. This is really good insight. Jay's been doing, Jay, I'm sorry to date you here. Jay's been doing this for a long time, folks. Yep. There's a lot of experience here with some of these comments. So this is really good stuff from the group.
Yeah, I think
was for you thinking about it. Really,
the big takeaway is you got to come in with a lot of capital. So if you don't have it, it's probably not the thing that you're going to want to try to do.
Break out the cash cannon. Yeah. Break it out. All right. 13. Oh, you know what? But that actually reminds me of something. Today, we are expecting I believe it's a Reg A direct listing.
Oh, you're talking about
yeah. Let's see if I've got the ticker here. Yeah, I don't have it here yet. The ticker, I'll put this in the chat in case you guys can't hear me or you're just reading the chat. AidX. The reason I'm bringing this up is because a gentleman from our happy hour program was a very, very early investor in this. AidX is, I think, 2020 Biosciences. And they basically have a blood cancer test product that is a competitor to Grail. Okay, that's ticker GRAL. This, he told us yesterday that his deal, AIDX, is available here today, or he thinks it's going to be available here today. And in fact, when I pull up the ticker in my broker, it does recognize 2020 Biolabs as the company. So sure looks like it's coming here today. Mm-hmm. What's notable about this is that, first of all, Grail's made a huge move here. This has been in a really hot theme. So I'm wondering if this is a rising tide lifts all boats thing. But the other thing that he told us is that he's been an investor in this for like 20 years. And in fact, for a number of those years, he had this written off as a zero because he didn't think anything was going to happen. Now it's going to make its debut in the public markets. It's going to be a huge windfall for him. But what he was telling the group is that, hey, I actually, even though I want to sell my shares, he was very, very clear about that. Full disclosure, I would like to sell my shares, at least most of them. He can't. And I'm wondering how many other players that want to sell are going to be unable to sell early here or on the first day. So I don't know what's going to happen with the stock. He doesn't know what's going to happen with the stock, but a little bit of heads up there. We think we're getting ticker AIDX, a competitor of Grail, to come public here today. So I'll keep checking in on that. Keep it under your hat. 13, let's knock out these movers here real quick.
Yeah. While you're pulling that up, Joe Schmo, sounds like the PDT rule we're talking about, the IPOs, supposedly protecting us from ourselves in buying an IPO. It's actually more of the opposite. They don't want people that are investing in this IPO to take their money out.
Exactly.
They don't want to have investors trade this IPO. They want to be invested in the IPO.
Really good point there.
It's really not so much protecting us as it is protecting the company from having that investor capital exit.
Jay here, when I worked at Merrill, I was lucky to get 100 shares of a good deal. So there's your answer there with the pre-IPO stuff. Okay.
Ruby, it's trading into a rising wedge. Here we go. That's off of Iran. Oil shipper. Boom. Done. No, kidding. Go ahead.
Okay, 13. It appears 13 had some coffee here today, too. We'll take that. Couldn't even draw the damn wedge fast enough, 13. Yeah, here we go, though. Really good breakdown. Quickly to add to this, short interest. I actually don't have a float reading. Only 120. What is it?
It's 502,000 shares. So this is going to move.
Okay, and that means like a quarter of it is shorted then, because the raw short interest here is 120,000 shares short.
They just did a 1-for-7 reverse split on the 12th last week, a week from ago today. So that's why the share structure is all changed. The company is profitable, but this is moving today on the escalating tensions with Iran. It is an oil shipper, and it's got a low float from that reverse split. So we're probably going to see a lot of this moving around, this broadening wedge, but ultimately these are bearish. Once we fall out of this, it's likely to come back in. Now, that might not be the case with this because this is a volatile issue, this Iran thing. So I expect that's what could still happen. But if news comes out that kind of leans in favor of higher oil prices, then this could continue higher and break the pattern. So just a couple of things to keep in mind with this one. It is forming a bearish pattern, but news can continue this bullish run.
Okay, good stuff there on Ruby. Next I have here is Yibo. This is Planet Image. Looks like this traded impulse move up to 146 yesterday, double topped intraday on the 5-minute chart, came back in. I don't have any news for this.
I don't either. I'll just get into that in just a second. But Ruby just went right to the top of the wedge, like really fast. And now it's getting rejected.
Okay, and really quickly here, Ken, thank you. Ruby, you need to call the broker for Schwab. So if you don't have that restriction removed, this one might be a little bit more difficult to trade. Thank you, Kenneth.
Yeah, Yibo, they had no news. Their float is 1.77 million shares. It's typically profitable. Last year they posted a loss, but they typically post profitable earnings. So don't know what last year was about. I looked at this one and I thought to myself, I don't know if this is going to be great or really do anything. It gave all the move in the after hours yesterday on no news, and it's almost completely given everything back. I think there's about 10-20 cents between where it started and where it is now. So, well, I think this would be one we have to wait and see what happens at the open. It looks like it's trying to form a base. So if it can recapture VWAP out of the open, it might provide some trades. But even if that does, there's still significant resistance at about 116.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff. Jupiter, whoa, caught that ruby right when you guys were talking about it. In at 396, out at 435. That sounds like a quick moneymaker. Start the day off with a register ring. I am all about it. Okay. Next here, Boxel. I feel like this is one that we've talked about quite a bit here.
Traded it too.
Traded it a few times. I see a trend line that's forming here from yesterday. I see another one on the bottom side here. 13, what do you got on Boxlight? And actually, while you cover this real quick, I'm going to step away. I'll be right back. I promise.
Okay, so this is moving on a investor called MD Ehsan Khan. They took a 24.3 stake in this company. Now, combined with the 17.7 short interest, I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing this movement here, but also because of that stake that they took. And this is on a company that has a float of 934,000 shares. The company's isn't profitable yet, but they've got 2 quarters worth of cash. So there's probably going to be a need for them to raise capital at some point, though I'm not sure they're going to necessarily do that. And I don't think I saw anything about them raising capital recently. Maybe I did, and I just forgot about it. Let me double check here real quick. But it wouldn't make sense to me if somebody took almost a quarter of a percent. I'm sorry, not quarter of a percent, almost a quarter of the entire float of a position prior to a dilution event. So I don't think that's necessarily happening. I think they ended up doing some kind of capital raise, and then they reverse split. I just don't remember if I saw that or not. It doesn't look like I can find it here. Anyway, at some point they're going to have to raise capital, so keep that in mind. But this is moving on a 24.3% stake being taken by that investor, Ensign Khan. Looking at the chart here, this is kind of starting to compress. After that first impulse move that took us up to 185, and then we came back down to about 145. We just kind of been bouncing around within that those two prices and consolidating. So I think this is another one I'd wait to see what we get out of the gate. It might end up going higher, but I don't know what it's going to do right now because it doesn't seem like there's any movement. So this would be another one I'd wait until we get the market open to see what it does. Will it break the 65 EMA to the downside, or will it break the VWAP and take us back up to 185, maybe even higher? Not sure yet, but that's what's happening with BOXL. Ryan, I don't know if you heard, but the reason it's moving today is because an investor named MD Ehsan Khan took a 24.3% stake in the company.
Okay, so a guy named Khan took a stake?
Yeah.
Okay, noted. Probably will stay away from that. Did you have anything else in the movers list that you wanted to go over here? JZXN, I feel like this is one that we've talked about before.
Yeah.
Note the wicks and how it comes back in. Maybe you can hit this. This seems like gambling to me.
Yeah, there were a couple on there that looked like they were gambling. One was on there. It had no movement whatsoever. Let me see if I can figure out which one that was. I think it was AFJK. That one.
We traded that one before.
We have, and I don't think that one had any real volume in it. It looked like it may have had one move, and that's it. And that's up, 26%. But no, I didn't have anything else I was looking at. So whatever you want to cover in the next 6 minutes, we can.
Okay, I'm just going to run a couple more down the list here real quick because we already kind of talked about them. CDIO, this actually made a really good move yesterday. Congrats if anyone hit this. I didn't trade this one myself. This actually looks pretty good here. In fact, I've got one of the things that I'm kind of looking at here because of the indicator that I could have. We got another fair value gap right in here. This may act as support if the price comes into it. Looks like we also have another one that's down right here. So I would say that these two areas could be support levels for CDIO if it comes in. We'll see if it's got the strength to hold that here. This is what I'd be looking at, though. Quick peek at the short interest on this name, 8.49%, 1 day to cover. Float here is 1.7 million. Traded three times its average volume here already today. So we'll see how this goes. CDIO, this is on deck here for today. We talked a little bit about Etsy. early, and 13, if you have anything on any,
Yeah.
I'm just going to cover 3 here real quick, and then I'll turn it over. You go whichever
Okay.
one you want. Etsy here, we talked about this. This reported earnings. This ran into its after hours high. 54 seems to be a key level there. Let's see if we also have a fair value gap on this one. Yep, we sure do. That's going to be right in here. Where are you? Where are you? Right in here. Boop. So here is your possible support area off the fair value gap for Etsy. We'll see if it holds above that. The other one I wanted to quickly mention, ENVB. You guys were talking about this one. We did have a super spike earlier here. This is trading higher after the company announced new mechanic and data demonstrating that its lead candidate activates both GQ and beta arrestin mediated signaling downstream. Okay, so this has got good medical news. This is popping here. It's beneath the VWAP. 13, which one of these do you want to go to?
I'm going to start with CDIO. That one looked like this is trying to come back up and take out 285. That could be what we end up getting as soon as we open here. I'd be keeping an eye on this one. That 285 from yesterday, that high. It just looks like we're on a trajectory to go and retest that level. And if we get enough volume out of the gate here, we could blow past it. So that's what I'd be looking for with CDIO, is coming back up to that 285 level. The next one that you were mentioning, Etsy.
Yeah, really quickly, I didn't mention this in the rundown. I believe it was either here. eBay bought something from them too. What was that? eBay signs agreement to acquire Depop from Etsy for $1.2 billion in cash. So they get another cash infusion in here. So keep going here with Etsy.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess that, when did that news come out? Because was that yesterday, or was that? It looks like that could have been yesterday, because
yes, this was after hours yesterday, right after the close.
So it's interesting too, because then that went into our earnings today for this company, and the earnings were as nearly received as well as that sale was. So because we're selling off here now after hitting a high of 54, which is about the same high that we hit when the first impulse move that we took up when we had that sale news to eBay. So it looks to me like 54 is going to be a big resistance area if this gets support and turns around and comes back up. That's what I'd be keeping an eye on, is that $54 area. To the downside, though, it's currently getting some support from the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. So I think if this is going to try to reverse here, we might see some more of that out of the gate. I think it's going to be a question of whether or not it can recapture that 65 EMA off this impulse move out of the gate. So next minute and 15 seconds should be able to give us an idea of where this is going to go. And finally, you also mentioned ENVB. Mm-hmm. See if I can get this one out of the way real quick. So, gosh, that one went right up to, we've traded this one before too, because I still have my previous levels here. This one right up to 445, which is just 5 cents over a previous level that I had here. And it came right back in, has not been able to recapture 275. 275 is standing out like a sore thumb here, and it's also a level I've got marked off. So if this gets support from the 65 EMA on the 5-minute chart and it turns back up, 275 is going to have to be the spot where we that needs to be recaptured prior to getting back above VWAP.
Okay. Really good stuff. Last one here I wanted to mention, Figma. I was saying that this might be a candidate for a gap and go. Doesn't look like it here today. We'll see what we get here on Figma, but this is really kind of bleeding back after its really good report yesterday.
It seems like a lot of things are kind of weak this morning if they're not in the oil and gas space.
Yeah. Okay, and then let's see here. As far as this one goes, where is my? I keep pressing the wrong button there, which is really dumb. Yeah, we are. So fair value gap on this one is about right in here. We're actually in that gap. Okay, we're open. Good luck, folks.
All right. So let's see if Ruby is going to try and test the top of that wedge, or if we're going to finally fall out of it. Yibo, not doing a whole lot out of the gate. Looks like this could leak back down into a dollar area. Boxlight trying to push over the VWAP. It's either going to be over the VWAP or under the 65 EMA. CDIO, here we go. This is coming up. This is trying to make its way towards 285. Etsy is continuing lower. And ENVB is not doing a whole lot yet. Kind of a slow open, it feels like.
Yep, sure does. Now this Etsy that you were just mentioning here. Let's see on Etsy. Boy, this is giving almost everything
Wow.
back.
What
Wow.
a big drop that was.
What a huge drop. Okay, so what is we didn't get any other news here, did we? What the
And it's very spread too.
highest shorted stock Etsy skyrockets on Thursday. Very interesting. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, that kind of screws up my plan.
What happened to all these, crafty stay-at-home wives? Are they not, making stuff anymore? That's what Etsy is, right? They build stuff on there, or they sell it, right?
Yeah, it's like unique arts and crafts type
Yeah.
stuff that people sell. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So here's Ruby coming back down to the bottom of the wedge now. I'm still waiting for this to fall out of the wedge. Remember, these rising wedges can be bearish. So if we are going to get a resolution of this pattern, we're falling out of this thing. Yibo, this is starting to put in some of the pre-market lows. Box light looked like that was trying to get over VWAP. It's still between VWAP and the 65 EMA. CDIO started to show some signs of upside, but came back in, still getting support from the VWAP.
Etsy sold their clothing division to eBay. That was Depop. Yeah, 1.25 billion. They sold their best asset. So there you go.
And Ruby looking like this is gonna fall out of the wedge here.
Really quickly, I just got to share this with you guys. Every time you guys say Ruby, I think of The Fifth Element, and I think of Ruby Rod, and it's just I hear Chris Tucker's voice in my head, and it is not good for me concentrating on what's going on here. So hopefully, I'm alone there. Ruby is pulling back here that 15 EMA. We'll see if it holds.
That went right down to VWAP. Got support there, trying to re-enter the wedge. Yibo, this is finally falling down.
Etsy, we're bouncing here. Fair value gap area. I know we kind of traded all the way through it, but so far it looks like it's holding here. So Etsy, pretty decent.
That was a nice rebound. That was probably a big opportunity there.
Yep, it was. Scalp one done. Indicator is 1 for 1 so far on Etsy.
Fantastic. That was a nice $3 move.
That was not bad. That was not bad. Testing stuff out here with small size here today.
Mulek.
Yeah.
Mulek is coming up to the 1950 high from yesterday. This thing is a rocket out of the gate, up 32% now. This might scallop and it go over 1950. You may see 20 plus. And Daniel so now I see Daniel saying Mulek as well. All right.
Well, and you guys are on it. You folks are on it. Not a bad start here.
Yeah. And talk is ripping, says Lion. Let's see what he's talking about.
Let's
it is
simple thing. I like dad jokes too. And indeed, this is ripping here. So this is not on my radar, but Talkspace going after earnings.
Seller at 5, large seller in the way at 5. So there may be a little bit of resistance there. We already went up to 495. So that might be where this tops out unless we get some more volume. What's the news on Talkspace? Because we've looked at this one before.
Earnings better than expected. Q4 financial results. And by the way, just looking at this, just since I'm talking about it and looking at it for the purpose of trading, fair value gap right in here. This would be a support area. If it comes down to it, we shall see. How's Figma doing? Oh my gosh, this gave back everything. RBNE getting shouted by Kathy. Let me check that real quick.
Robin Energy. Okay. This is looking for 520 again, the pre-market high. Trying to get through some of the resistance at 5. It was there's no closes, I think, over 5. Maybe 1. Nope, no closes over 5. So that's the spot that's been trying to get over in the pre-market. Okay. So need to see some volume. If we get over 5, we might see a little bit more upside here.
Okay. What else do we have here?
So Etsy, when it rebounded, it went right back up to the 200 EMA, and now it's coming back down again.
Okay, so just the bounce trade there on Etsy. I'm all out that BOXL. Got it.
Yep, box light coming up to that 185 area, getting pretty close. It just had a nice pop. Didn't quite get to 185, but it looks like it's trying to shoot for it here. Ruby, this is falling out of the wedge, testing the VWAP again. It just lost it, so this is perfect. This is the resolution we was talking about with this rising wedge. This is what it looks like. We might get a back test of the bottom of the wedge here, but I still think this is going to end up going lower.
The Fifth Element reference was a low-key flex. Hey, I'm glad we'll take it as a low-key flex instead of something embarrassing. That's a movie from my childhood, and God, I love Bruce Willis. So, okay, Ruby coming back in. This actually lost its VWAP. Ruby is crapping the bed. CDIO, I'd look at 239 if it comes in. That's going to be the top of the last fair value gap. That would be potential entry if it holds. 239, 240, that spot, CDIO.
And when I see this, when I see the stock price and Ruby drop, I think of when that explosion aboard the ship happened, and he did that really loud scream. That's what I think of when I see this falling.
I am so glad that you explained it with words instead of trying to imitate it. That was a quality decision on your part here this morning.
I sometimes make good decisions.
Frequently, actually. Frequently. Okay. What else do we got here? Oh, yeah. So real quickly, I noticed that Ondas, we talked about this yesterday. I'll tell you what, this has been great recently. Yesterday, we closed above the 50-day moving average. That 50-day moving average at 1053 here today. It was at 1049 yesterday. We closed above that. Giddy up on Ondas. This actually pulled out of the open, and it's coming back on here. Not day trading this, but definitely watching it. Also, Walmart, by the way, they reported earnings went negative and have gone red to green. So let me know what you folks think on Walmart for a potential short-term trade. Looking around here, seeing if there's anything else that I'm noticing.
Well, wasn't it Walmart falling earlier this week on the potential news of tariffs not working out for any of these companies? Okay, so maybe we do get a bit of a rally after these earnings, but once we get into the era or the area where we're supposed to be hearing about the SCOTUS ruling on tariffs, I don't know that
tomorrow, right? The first day that we could potentially hear from that is tomorrow.
Yeah, it could be. So does this move up hold is kind of what I'm wondering, and I'm not sure that it will.
Okay.
Same thing with Costco. If it doesn't work out in their favor. And here's and it's not going to be a black and white thing. And I realize we haven't talked about this here on the show. We talked about it in Happy Hour, but when it comes to the SCOTUS ruling, it's not going to be if they rule against Trump, then everything's fine for all these companies. It's not going to be that way. It's going to likely be something to the effect of the tariffs are ruled illegal for whatever reason, and they won't be going forward, but there's not going to be any retroactive, reimbursement. The courts aren't going to allow these companies to have any avenue of getting that money back. That's what I think is going to happen. And what could also happen is SCOTUS could also issue a stay on the decision until Congress acts. So it's not really so much of a black and white area. It's very, very gray. And there's going to be probably a lot of disappointment out of this ruling, I think, from both sides.
Interesting. We'll see. I have no positions on for it, but we'll obviously react to it whenever it is that we get that. Let's see if I notice anything here from the unusual options scanner. Nothing yet. Keep my eyes peeled on that. Nothing looks crazy yet.
So Boxlight hit 185. That's crazy. It hit 185, the very high that we put in the after hours yesterday, and it backed off. Now, if we get some support down around this 175 area, maybe as low as 165, and we hold above that area, we could still come back up and take out 185.
I'll tell you what, that 180, 185 sure looks to be the spot here, 13. Sure looks to be the spot there. All right, what am I missing? Anything?
Looks like RBNE is trying to hold above some of these smaller moving averages, but it's the volume isn't that great. I'm just kind of keeping an eye out to see if it recaptures 5. This was the one that was having a hard time getting over 5.
Moto Guru saying the Walmart daily chart still trending up. Do you have any upside targets on that, Moto? Hello, Moto.
I saw that commercial too.
I mean, I lived through that commercial. A lot of NVIDIA puts going off here today. NVIDIA actually looks like it might roll over a bit.
Okay, so RBNE is at 5 now. Really, things have really slowed down the first 15 minutes here.
They sure have. NVIDIA's coming in here too. No buy signal yet for that as well. eBay's coming back in. How did Etsy do here? Etsy still holding that fair value gap area right near the top end. I don't feel good about a trade there, though.
Ruby is trying to come back up, and I think this is where we're going to get that bottom test of the wedge. So if this comes back up and tries to re-enter, I think that's going to be the next phase of this going south. So this should get rejected probably around $4, if not earlier. But this is what I think is going to be the back test of the rising wedge before we fall further.
Kathy, PG&E, is that PG ticker PGE, or is it because PG is Procter and Gamble, right?
Yeah.
PG is Procter and Gamble. What is the ticker again for PG&E? The energy company?
PG.
Because you can't put the and sign in. I just can't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Box light coming back up to 185. It's PCG.
PCG.
All right, we hit 186 with that move in box light. Still having trouble with that, with this 180, 185 area. Needs more volume.
Kathy saying some of the metals about to go red green. We actually talked about that with Kinross Gold, didn't we? Silver's actually down here. Let's check. Oops, Kinross Gold, KRG, right?
Okay, so Ruby went to 184, backing off a little bit. Didn't quite hit the bottom of that rising wedge, but that's okay because we just need to back test it, not necessarily mingle with it.
So these Kinross Gold here is down. What is GLD doing?
RBNE
down too.
Just put in a new high, 529. We finally got through that $5 level. That was the spot we were keeping an eye on. It broke out, went to 529. This might halt. No, it's not. It just didn't have any price action. Talk coming back up, looking for that $4.95, maybe $5 level again. Talk.
I was referring to Procter and Gamble. Sorry. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So ticker PG. So Talk actually never came into that fair value gap area. Here's PG. This is Procter and Gamble. This thing straight up out of the gate, by the way. And actually, we do have from the top of yesterday and about 159. So right in here. Yeah, right in here is actually a fair value gap area. So it'll be interesting to see if this holds this.
Ruby down to the 65 EMA. This has been the most well-behaved stock, I think, today. The rising wedge falling out of that. This is exactly what it's supposed to do. So really, really good to see.
Okay,
CDIO just lost its VWAP. That's heading down to its 65 EMA on the 5-minute. Our BNE had a nice pop up to 529. It's giving all that back now, folks. So I think this is the kind of day where if you see that move, get your gains and get out, because it gives it right back a lot of times. Like, I don't think I've seen one yet where it's held the upside that it's given.
And the market actually looks like it's trying to turn around here. So we've got SPY. We talked about this kind of coming in. SPY looks like it's trying to go higher. What do you think, 13? You think we need to break the 685?
As long as we hold above 684. Sorry, I'm just keeping an eye on move. Like, this thing is ripping now. Held its VWAP, and now we're continuing higher. We just broke out of the high from yesterday. Let's see where this ends up going here. If I can identify a spot. We're trying to get through some of this consolidation from September, and once we do, there's probably not a lot of resistance up until about $35.
Okay. So. Moto saying you're looking for Walmart to go to 141.29 by 2027. Hey, no worries about being new either. We all have to start somewhere. Lion saying energy and basic materials and metals is where you need to be. So you talked about Kinross Gold earlier, KGC, right? Am I going to get this right here? So Lion, do we like this little dip here in KGC? We talked about, 33, right? 33 being a possible, 33.50 maybe being a possible level. Let me know. Let me know. CDIO, by the way. So we're in that fair value gap area. We actually went to about the midpoint of it. We're also at the bottom end of the standard deviation away from VWAP. So possible support area here, 234-ish. Okay, so you do think KGC is a buy, Lion. Okay. See if we can get a little bit of a bounce here in CDIO. Stop would be down at the 65 EMA, really 222, bottom of the fair value gap area.
I guess I'm being asked about Sidus Space. I'll take a look at that in just a tick here.
Just a tick.
Just a tick. All right, Sidus. Is it up today? What's it doing? No, it's kind of down today. Is there news? Let's see. I have a 13G. What's this about?
Yeah, Marianetta, you were asking about the 13Fs. I don't have anything on that. Any thoughts on the latest 13F filings? I would invite the group to share that. Didn't someone say yesterday that you're late already on that? Maybe on some of the 13F filings. I know Tim talked about some of them yesterday. Mm-hmm. I don't have any new thoughts on any of those filings, but I would open that question up to the group. Jay, you follow those 13Fs, don't you? Or at least what they're doing. Maybe not take the trades, but what they're doing. Let me know if anyone's got anything for Marianetta.
Not seeing anything with Sidus Space that's causing this this decline, but it seems like a lot of the sectors, the whole space sector is kind of just down today slightly. So they have some deals going on with Samara Sense. I don't have anything on why it's moving down today, but yeah, it looks like we're at a bit of a support area. Looking at a intraday chart, looks like 210 is where we're getting support for now. If we lose this 210 area, there's some more support coming down around $2 to 207. Right.
Jay here. Thank you for answering. 13Fs, regarding the 13Fs, in my opinion, it's old data and I don't really use it. Was it you that said this yesterday? Because I'm pretty sure that somebody literally said this yesterday when we were talking about them or when Tim was on, but I can't place who that was. Nonetheless, I would still open that question up. It's a pretty good discussion there that Marianetta has flagged. Billy mentioning Deere as being a beast. Deere reported earnings. And yes, so this was the gap and go. Damn, Billy, I should have gone to this one earlier. Damn. Nice little break right here through 633. You got 12 points already on that. Indeed, Deere beasting here. No position for me. CDIO, where I do have a position down there at 234. This is working. Amazing. You know what we're going to do now? You guessed it. We're going to increase that stop. We're going to bring that right up to the 240 area. We cannot lose on this trade now. See if we have a little bit of a move to go higher here. We shall see.
This is a pretty significant move for Deere in just 1 month. This is 23% that we're up just in February. And we still have like 9 days left.
All right. Let me go to my bigger chart and we'll take a look here at Deere together. 13. We've got enough time to do that. Come on, CDIO. Give us 2 for 2 on the trades here. I'll tell you what, this indicator that I vibe coded, if this ends up working, we're already going to be plus several $100 from just a couple hours of coding here. What do you have here for DE?
I think we're pretty close to the top here. Humor me and do this, and you tell me if you think that this makes sense. So if you look at a monthly chart at March of 2021, it's pretty much the high after this big green rally we had in 2020. So you start there, draw a trend line through the high of March of 2022, and keep it going. I get the sense that we're pretty close to being at the top here for Deere. This is just a very, very big move. How far away are we from the 20-month? We're about 35% away.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're going to have a mean reversion pretty soon. So that's if you're in deer, don't let me tell you what to do with your stock, but this may be a profit taking area. I think this is a really good spot to pay yourself.
And I think Lion agrees with you here. He's saying it's extended. We're right up at the trend line. To me, that sure looks like a take gains area. Maybe a buy back down here, 535.
Yeah, maybe even down there around 535. I want to see what happens at 6 first.
Yeah, because this would be the gap fill on the daily. Sure.
Yeah, but I think 530, 535. That looks like a really good support area. By the way, Mulek blasted off to 22.
Let me go back to the main one here.
I just closed a little trade in that one on the pullback it had. So no position in this one anymore, but that was a nice little thing that happened there. And this could still climb some more. I don't know if we're going to get that price I mentioned earlier, that $35 price, but I mean, with the float being what it is, it could certainly get pushed up there.
Matthew says, I don't see Lion talking in the chat. Lion's name, because of the whole YouTube thing, is Hamid30 NBL. Yeah. So unless there's a spoofer here, that's Lion. I know it used to say Lion Atlas. It doesn't anymore. Kathy, this is interesting. Kathy here saying rhyme, red to green. Schwab borrowed my shares. And there might be a potential short squeeze on here. That's interesting to know. Thank you, Kathy, for sharing that with the group. Would you need to see a move above 3?
This while we were talking, this pushed up to 508, and now it's finding some resistance above 5. But that was a nice move while that was going on. Meanwhile, Ruby, man, this was probably I think this is going to be the one I appreciate the most. This is the call of the day. The rising wedge and the resolution of the rising wedge. This is perfect. This is perfect, Ryan.
It's getting exactly here.
This is perfect. It fell right out of the rising wedge, back tested it almost, and then we just kept going lower. I love it when the technicals work out exactly like they're supposed to. All right, enough of that. Let's
309 viewers in YouTube. I actually show 395 right now in YouTube. Number 2 this morning. Could be a function of that too. Here. I'm seeing Lion's comments. I'm literally highlighting them on stream. There's definitely not a problem.
I appreciate that, Tom, but this is just technicals. This is technicals working out perfectly.
That's why we follow them, 13.
Oh yeah,
because they often paint us a picture.
Mm-hmm. And I'm an artist.
Oh, wait a sec, guys. Thank you, producer, for figuring this out. Oh. So the reason that you're not seeing Lion is because we had 2 streams. Oh, I know what's happening here. Because we created 2 streams, we probably have a split audience, but Restream, the tool that we use here, puts both of the streams together. So what's happening is that's what's going on. That's what's going on. Okay, so that is and producer already reached out to YouTube. So that's okay. So we figured this out. So I will try and highlight the comments here that are actionable by Lion, because and really by anyone else. We're using Lion as an example. I don't mean to pick on him, but really anyone else here. Obviously, we are having an issue with the split streams. That's why you're not seeing them. I will try and put them on screen. Don't cross the streams, Cushley. Yes, going back to the Ghostbusters reference. Don't cross the streams.
Except instead of Ghostbusters, he's calling YouTube. I'll be here for another 30 minutes.
That's okay. CDIO, by the way, so we did stop out of there. We stopped out with a gain at 240. So it looks like this came back in. I tell you what, though, that's pretty good on that fair value gap indicator. That's working.
Mulek is also working. It's riding up its VWAP right now. It hit 2330. I'll get right. 2322. It's making its way up towards that 35 area that we talked about earlier. On low volume, and it's very spready, so you do have to be careful with this one. But this is still climbing, and until we start to lose that VWAP, I think this can continue. Maybe we get a little bit back and forth on the way up, but I haven't seen any signs of this starting to turn around and weaken yet.
Day trader, I absolutely love your energy right now. You could always open up a second tab and watch both chats. You could also like the stream twice there. I tell you what, why aren't you guys as supportive as day trader? That's what I would like to know. Why is not everybody as supportive of day trader with his ideas here? That's a pretty good one. More work, but a pretty good one nonetheless. RCAT moving nicely on volume. That's going to be in the drone theme. Perhaps that's still on the back of the Iran situation that we were talking about. Oh, and by the way, guys, CDIO, maybe I shouldn't have adjusted my stop. Came back into the top of the fair value gap, stopped me out for a gain. But now we're getting the move that I actually wanted. Oh, I made lunch money on that. Actually, I probably made less than snack money. Damn, there's the move. Okay, lesson learned. A tad too aggressive with the stop. Probably should have lowered that a little bit, but I'm trying to be as disciplined as possible. Nonetheless, CDIO, nice move here off that.
There's a couple of names I've been keeping an eye on, and I'm not sure if they're ready yet, but you guys know them very well. Joby and Archer. They've really come down. I'm just keeping an eye on them because I still think at some point they're going to be pretty good buys here for a trade. They've, Archer, it's printed above 12 multiple times, but it's never been able to close a month above 12. So that's a big resistance area that I've got my eye on, and it needs to get support down here from these lower prints because these are just some pretty big historical support areas. I think if we can hold 690, that would be particularly great, and I would want to see a recapture of the 20 months afterwards. So that's I'm just keeping an eye on these, but some of these names that have been hammered down starting to look pretty attractive. So just keep an eye on some of the ones we've been trading. That were trading last year. Ruby continues to fall. This was so good. Sorry if anybody decided to take a trade in this and is still in it. But try to
unless you took it short.
Yeah, if you took it short, great. Oh yes, and Archer is an Olympic sponsor, absolutely. So that Archer and Joby, I think they're going to have some pretty an interesting time this year. And then another one I mentioned yesterday was Aurora Innovation. That one's having a pretty decent day. What's that?
AUR. It's okay. I just wanted to comment here. Green Golem the 6th. Sorry if I butchered that. Legit missed on your 240 entry. That was pretty good though, wasn't it? If I could import my indicator into Pro to share it with you here, I would. The other thing here is I want to get at least a week worth of data showing that the indicator works before I start, increasing size myself, or maybe even, having someone else test it or something like that. I want to make sure that it's doing all right. I'll tell you what, it worked perfectly for CDIO here today. Worked perfectly so far. Here's what I will say, Green Golem. There will be other opportunities. Don't you worry about that. We'll keep bringing them to you here. So don't even worry about that. HIMS. This is another one that we looked at earlier. This did bounce off of that pre-market low. Let's see what my indicator says about this real quick.
Silver going up.
Sorry, really quick here. This 1655, this is a resistance area. Got to clear that area out. Okay, 13. I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to run you over there.
Sorry. Line saying that AG silver. This is First Majestic silver, but it's also the symbol for the atomic silver as well. This is still going up. I'm looking at a monthly chart for First Majestic, and this has a trend line that it didn't quite get to yet. If it and it won't unless we hit I think $30. So kind of interesting here. This has a double rounding bottom. $30 looks like it could end up going there, but this is very extended at the same time. So even if we get to $30, I think that could be a sell. It's a sell up there because we are extended. Let me look at smaller time frame to see where we're at with that. This also kind of extended on the weekly, but not as much as the monthly. And then on the daily, we're not extended at all. So we certainly could push up to that trend line. I don't know if you've got it on there, but if you look at a monthly, you could probably see the trend line I'm referring to.
Dude, I can see it clear as day. These 3 peaks,
yep,
right?
That's it.
Yep, got you. Let me add that to the chart here.
Yeah, so I'd be looking for the price to reach that, and if it does, it should hit 30.
Okay, this is interesting to me. So I drew the fair value gap that my indicator gave me on the chart here.
Mm-hmm.
I drew it on this trading view chart. Look how good this worked for AG here today. We came right back into it. We didn't break the bottom of it. Your stop would have been at the bottom of this box. We never broke it.
You actually got support from all that consolidation in
exactly
in the pre-market and after hours there.
Exactly. So look, this, I'm telling you, I'm on to something here, guys. I am on to something here. And on CDIO, we had something similar. So let me draw it on here for you. Last one we had was at the bottom of these wicks. That fair value gap is going to be right in here. This is the support area. Look what it did. It traded above it, came back into it, used it as support. You wouldn't have stopped out because it was the bottom of the box, 222. The box. It's at the bottom there and right back up to the highs. I would love to see a break above 270 here. And if you are scaling in, I would leave a trailer in case 270 gets taken out. Man, oh man, I am so stoked today. You don't even understand right now.
Crim Biscuit mentioning KNRX. It's a halt shaker. This thing, lots of volume today. It hasn't been around for too long. This came out in September last year. Been on a decline ever since. Today, it is blasting through the two moving averages I have on the daily, the 20 and the 50. It went as high as, looks like 280 before we started backing off. So nice movement here. Looks like there is some significant resistance around the $3 area. AG's a low-cost silver producer. Do we think silver will ever drop below 40? I don't think it will. I don't even think it'll go beneath 50.
Aren't there just too many applications for technology, data centers, military? There's just too much now for that to really drop that much, don't you think?
There's industrial demand already on top of the jewelry demand. India absolutely loves silver, and then there is it's a hedge against inflation. It's the poor man's gold. So I think there's a lot of cases to keep silver above a certain price. And just looking at the chart historically, I don't think that it goes under 50. Broadcom mentioning, or J. Rice mentioning, Broadcom has a new 6G chip. Did that just get announced?
Okay, you know what? This is
what happened?
Nothing happened. Well, some good stuff happened actually. I want to share this with the group here. I want to show you guys what I'm looking at here real quick. Let me do this here real fast. Sorry about making my head big. I know nobody wanted that. Just give me a sec here. All right, here's my broker. You guys see this?
Yeah.
Here's my broker. This is what I use for actively trading. All right. The indicator that I built is these red and green areas are represented as fair value gaps. And furthermore, I have entry triggers denoted by the yellow arrows. Look where it said to buy a Vago today.
And that's based off of your
Yes, it's based off of the concept of fair value gaps, which is a 3-candle formation. But I had Perplexity, actually I started in Claude and had Perplexity finish actually developing the indicator for me. And I've plotted it on my charts, and this is what it looks like. And I'm going to keep tinkering with this, and I'm going to keep trying this. But I mean, this is insane how well this is actually working. Just absolutely insane. I'll keep you posted on this stuff, on how this is going. I tell you what, I know it's early. I am a believer in AI writing code for people. Because I couldn't code my way out of a paper bag. I have no idea what I'm doing, yet I've developed an indicator that's working.
Well, if this ends up being a really good indicator to where I'm going to have to switch over to Thinkorswim and kind of steal that from you.
Nope. You know what I'm going to do? We're going to have a project first. You're going to tell me if you can do custom scripting in Webull, and then I'm going to force the AI tool to duplicate it for your environment.
Okay.
And then we'll see what's up.
I don't know that Webull is nearly as customizable as Thinkorswim, but I'll look into it.
Yeah, look, just look in to see if you can load custom indicators. Broadcom, by the way, whoever brought this one, Jay Harris, where are you at, dude? I mean, I feel like this move today is nuts. I should have traded this one.
This could invalidate the bearishness of this chart that we were talking about earlier. because it looked like Broadcom was on its way down. Let me see what the monthly looks like. We still haven't. Wait, why does this look so different now? Or it's the weekly, I think. Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
really quick. While you're figuring that out, Robot to Trade says I'm using Sonnet 4.6 for trading script. That's what I used in Claude. My Claude used Sonnet 4.6, but again, I finished it off in Perplexity, so I can't necessarily say that. And then whoever was asking, do it on RZLV, Ed. I got nothing because I don't think that stock is triggering the fair value gap. I have it trying to. It works better on bigger stocks, number one, but I have it trying to not throw out a bunch of false signals, right? Like we want those signals to be actionable. I'm looking at the chart here. It's got no boxes on it and no arrows indicating that there was an entry.
So Broadcom, if we can recapture the 20-week, then that could maybe I would see this whole bearish pattern invalidated, and we could start trading back up. It looks like we need to get above 348.50, but I would go even further and say we need to get above 360 and hold above that. I think we could continue upwards. Now, I saw a comment that the Mag 7 were starting to rise. That's great because I think Microsoft finally ran its course with how low it's going to go from the selling it had off the double top. I really think it should be starting to form a base here, and if we can continue to hold above 400 and recapture, I would say. I think if we can recapture 406, we might be in business here. Need to get above that 20-day SMA, but it looks like this is starting to form a bit of a bottom here in Microsoft.
Oh, you were talking about I thought you were still on Broadcom. I'm sorry, 13. That's
okay.
That's my bad here. But here's the chart here. So 406 is the level that you're talking about. That is actually, I've got that as the 9 EMA, 13.
Oh, okay. I don't have it.
And this, remember, so the 9 EMA recapture that we saw on Ondas led to the next day higher where we recaptured the 50. So to your point here about recapturing 406, perhaps that does lead to higher upside here. CW Parker says, Ryan, I write ThinkScript and create Thinkorswim indicators. I know, but you actually can code. I'm a scrub. I'm the biggest coding noob that there ever was. And that's why I'm so impressed with this, because this tool helped bridge a gap that I didn't think I was going to be able to bridge. Alp says, FYI, I'm not too sure if you've ever heard the name Mobius. I have. He's a guru of TOS scripting. You can ask him any. I might do that when I refine this a little bit. Again, my amazement here is because I am totally stepping outside of my wheelhouse and trying something and then trying to prove the concept using real money. I'm skipping the entire paper money part of this entire thing and going right to real money with reduced size. You folks that do scripting and have done it for a long time, I am impressed because I can't do it. I'm no shock. CW Parker, let me ask you, or maybe you know, Alps, regarding Mobius. Are you able to sell these indicators? Because that might be a sweet side hustle.
Get out of his way, folks. He's on a roll. Don't slow him down
right now. And I had too much coffee, so look out.
Have more.
Oh, here's AG, by the way. This is, oh man, this.
Look at Ruby.
Gotta have a head on a swivel in the morning here, I think.
Look at Ruby. We're down at the support area following the first pop it had in the pre-market. We're down at the 250 support area. This thing gave everything, almost everything back. I'm going to be done gushing about this, but this is, I just love to see it when patterns that are so clear that end up resolving the way they're supposed to.
CW Parker says, yes, I saw them on Etsy. That can't be true, but that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Replay says, never imagined how inefficient coding could become when I was saving bytes on my 3.5K Commodore.
Oh, man.
Oh, like I said, we've advanced quite a bit here.
Mulek provided another trade. It went down underneath VWAP, and then it went back over it. Now we're still above it. It looks like this is still starting to weak. Volume's starting to leave the market and this stock as well. But just keep it on your radar. There may be another trade here as long as it holds above VWAP.
So that wasn't me. You never even technically disconnected. You just dropped something. You said it earlier. Something was up with YouTube and the internet. It looks like that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, earlier this week, X and YouTube were having issues. I mean, I remember going on YouTube and none of these suggestions would load. I had to, individually
Yeah,
click on
yeah,
my
me too. I saw that.
Yeah.
Yes, I had to search. I couldn't.
Yeah.
The algorithm was feeding me nothing.
That was when YouTube was having problems. There were a lot of
Okay.
streamers that were mentioning that issue. So there was something going on with X and YouTube. Don't know what it is, but they've been having some issues for some reason.
Retro, take care of yourself. Thanks for joining us here.
Take care, Retro. Have a good one. Ruby is done. Oh, sir, it has been done.
Yeah, it has.
It is. It might be finished selling though. What's up?
What do we think about SanDisk here? This is approaching yesterday's intraday high. Maybe we get a pop above here.
This okay. So look at the daily. I think we could do a trend line and keep an eye on the 20-day SMA. So we're getting a little bit of compression here, and it's just going to be a matter of which one of these do we break first. If we break beneath the 20 and start closing underneath it, I think that's indicating that we go lower, maybe come down to 500. If we break out of this trend line, then I think we come back up to 700. So I think that's what I'd be keeping an eye on here with SanDisk is which one we break first, that 20-day SMA or the trend line.
Okay.
All the other memory names. Sorry, go ahead.
Nope, that's okay. The 2x long FIG. So FIG looks like this gave everything back after its earnings and then bounced. But man, this traded all the way back down to where it opened yesterday and then bounced.
The other memory names aren't deep red. I mean, Micron is only down 1%, but we're still holding above the 20-day SMA. Let's see, Western Digital. This one is a little bit more hurt, but it's so when I look at the daily chart here, this has been trying to get over 300, has not been able to close above it. So that seems to be a sign of rejection, but you have some support coming at 275.
Sorry, what ticker are you on? I was space.
Western Digital, WDC.
WDC, got it on my big chart here for you.
Yeah, so 300, that's a resistance area, no close above that. Now looking at STX, Seagate. This is actually in the process of losing the 20-day SMA. So that might be not a great sign for this one. And this has gone on a massive, massive run from the low from April 7th. This used to be less than a year ago. This was $65. Now it's $407. This thing went up to this thing almost added on $400 to its stock price in a matter of months. But if we start losing this 20-day SMA and we get more than, I would say, 3 close above it, we could see some more downside here. Now we have traded underneath this 20-day SMA for more than 3 days, and it didn't lead to further downside. But given the extension that we've had on this run, I'm willing to believe that if we start closing underneath it, we're going to probably fall at least back down to 360.
Okay. All right, WDC. I wanted to highlight this. Lion mentioning that CTRA is popping or is printing. Lion, I'm assuming based on what you're saying that you have this one, but you know who recommended this one a long time ago? You guys know who was a big buyer of this? Said, hey, this is a conviction buy. I love this company a number of times on webinars, on this show. You know whose call this was?
Wasn't Tim?
Yep. Tim Melvin. Tim Melvin called this, I believe, with a low 20. And here we are at 32. Someone, producer, maybe you can remind me, maybe we should allow Tim to do a victory lap. His victory laps are hilarious. That guy is just, he's so funny. Maybe we should have him talk about that next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, get him a first place medal. We can.
He's already got that in the form of his Orioles shirt that he wore onto the stream yesterday. That's his first place medal. What a guy he is.
Yeah, Joe, you're right. Ruby gave it all up, and it's. I mean, we are back to even before all this move. This is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's see. RBNE. This went down to the 65 EMA. It's popped back over VWAP, trying to hold above VWAP now. Yibo did do nothing today. Boxlight, this is trying to recapture VWAP again. CDIO, we did get a pop just briefly. What else is happening
We
here?
actually, we now have a fair value gap created here on Figma. It's very small, but it's right about here. Got that top of that value there, 24.75.
Mulek, Mulek's now turning bearish here. I think this is going to start coming in some more. We lost the VWAP and started losing some these smaller EMAs. MACD is indicating the momentum is shifting to the downside. I think this could be finished.
Alpha Trade says this is not the market to bet on low floats. I would agree with Alpha 100%. To me, it seems like, I mean, maybe you catch one and it goes crazy and that's enough to keep you green and all of that. And if that's the case, great. But I really think I agree with him here. It seems like those are way more risky, way more akin to gambling. And I think you're probably better off staying with some of the bigger names there. Speaking of bigger names, Jay, I think you had mentioned OSS earlier on a piece of news. And then KNRX, I'll go to that here. I know you guys are shouting that one. Hang on one sec. OSS, $10.5 million award to support the U.S. Navy. That's what's boosting this 14%. KNRX, let's take a look.
And it's not a low float either. It's just illiquid, I think. Wow. That is a lot of moves. And this is the one that was halting earlier too, right?
Yes, this has 4 halts thus far today. And I mean, you guys are probably tired of me saying this, but right in here, my indicator flagged this fair value gap area as support, and look where it bounced off. Today's a good day.
Yeah.
Today's a good day.
Yep. Looks like Talk just put in some new session highs, 510 now. Well, some of these other ones looking pretty weak.
Talk, this was another really good mention earlier. I know I didn't get really a chance to enter this, but man, this thing has continued to push to new highs here, up 30% almost. Wow.
What? Intuit TurboTax delivers the ultimate done-for-you tax experience powered by AI and human intelligence with Uber rides.
Is this like a piece of news that you're reading?
Yeah, this is a headline that came out today. New campaign offers TurboTax filers free Uber rides up to $25. Okay, I see what that is.
So you basically get a free Uber ride if you choose to do your taxes with Intuit's TurboTax.
What does that tell you about Intuit?
That they need help, and
Yes.
and that they probably don't see as much business as they've forecasted. And I think the chart probably tells us the same thing here.
I mean, yeah, it's one thing to be caught with your pants down. It's another thing to be shouting about your pants being down. So I think that's what this is here. It's about shouting about Intuit's pants being way down, like they're walking on their trousers. So,
Gregory, can you educate us on the fair value indicator setup? Yes. Give me some more time to test it out, though. Let me develop a bigger sample size so I don't get too hyped too early and then have something or some oversight, because I'm not a pro coder, have some oversight end up ruining it. Give me a little bit more time to build up some more sample size, and I'd be happy to talk about it with the group. Absolutely.
we're getting asked about PAGS.
Tags?
PagSeguro. What is the question here? Have you looked at PAGS? We haven't. This does have some short interest. Almost exactly the kind of short interest we're looking for, just slightly low on the days to cover. A little bit of a heavier float, 146 million. It's been getting some conflicting price targets and coverage here. It's downgraded to neutral from Grupo Santander, and UBS thinks it's a buy, and it's worth $14. So haven't looked at this one. What's the concern here? I mean, this might be one that does better with the that whole Venezuela ousting of the the drug lord. This one could be a benefit. It could benefit from that, but I don't know enough about this company. I just know that they're in financial services in South America.
This is our concern, dude.
This is our concern, dude.
We did not bring this up yesterday. Here's today's action. Okay, so we do have a fair value gap that should offer support around 1063. But look at yesterday.
Where's your mouse?
Right here, right here.
Okay, okay, gotcha.
It literally bounced off of the top of this area again, and then ran the rest of the day. I'm going to keep building up the sample size, guys. Keep building up the sample size. I'm just saying. Okay.
There's a reason why you like Costco. You like those samples, and now he's giving them.
You know what's funny about that? The funniest thing about that is that every time I go right when it opens for executive members at 9 a.m., and there are never samples available. So as much as I love Costco, I almost never have the samples because I'm like, I got to get in and I got to get out before it turns into a overcrowded war zone. It's just, yeah. I can't deal with that many people.
Well, yeah, because it turns into a zoo and they break out those free samples because they need to feed the animals.
Okay, well done.
I'm there with you. I don't
for the samples. Yeah, I do.
I'm there with you. I don't like being in those large Costco crowds.
Me either, man. And then you have the families that show up there, and you have the 4-year-old kid that's running around with a cart that's 3 times his size, banging into shit. Not that I've experienced this before, LOL. But yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Take care, Judge. Have a good one.
Yeah, take care of yourself, Judge. Thanks for all your positivity.
Sorry, just looking through some.
You don't have to be sorry. Nobody needs to be sorry today, man. Nobody needs to be sorry.
It's just my silence here. Just because I'm reading through this. What? You smell? You got burned in Ruby? Were you not here with us? We were talking about that one and how it had a bearish pattern. Sorry that burned you.
Again, if you just really quickly kind of want to review this as more educational than anything else, here is, I believe, the wedge that we drew. I did this on my other chart, obviously, and I'm sorry about that. Here's the wedge that we drew. 13. The thing here is that this. Oh my God, Ryan, click on the right things for heaven's sake, dude. What is going on? Click on the right things. I did not click to make the screen. I am struggling right here. I am struggling. Okay, this is what I was trying to do. Here is the chart. So do you want to explain what traders should be looking at?
Well, yeah. So there's a couple of wedges that you can look at when it comes to patterns in stock charts. There's a rising wedge and there's a falling wedge. If you get a rising wedge, which is what this one is, the price tends to fall out of this. It'll back test the bottom of the wedge and then head south. And we pretty much got all that here with Ruby. It was a rising wedge rising into the open. We fell out of this after we opened, back tested it, and we went south. Alternatively, when you see a stock in a decline, if they make a falling wedge, once we break out of that wedge, we'll typically back test the top of that wedge and then go higher. So rising wedges, they're bearish. They can lead to this. Falling wedges are bullish. They can lead to pretty much the opposite.
Sorry, I'm going through some news here that apparently the Bears are set to announce that they are moving to Northwest Indiana.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm being asked by some of my friends, how do I feel? I really don't care. I don't go to the games. I watch my couch seats in the same town.
Well, I'm going to put it to you this way. A long time ago, I was a Chargers fan. And when they moved from San Diego to Los Angeles, that's when I pretty much was done with the team. I just don't like the owner. The whole reason for me being a Charger fan is because I loved San Diego. So I left the team and got a lot of people who wanted me to come to Green Bay. So I did. I've been a Packers fan ever since. Plus, I love Vince Lombardi. I think he's got a great philosophy. But I used to be a Chargers fan. And when they took my team away from my city, they lost me.
Okay. Okay. Well,
If you felt the same way, I would totally understand.
I
But
will
that was
not
me.
do that. I'm actually a little bit disappointed that you became a Packers fan of all those other teams, but we'll leave that. We'll leave that for another day.
I had a lot of family. I had a lot of family that were Packers fans, so it was not a hard decision.
Okay. Okay. Well, I respect that, but yeah, this to me it does not. First of all, I don't think it's set in stone. This entire stadium thing could be its own TV drama. But
I was just big mad at that because I'd gone to I've been to Chargers games. I had a great time in tailgating. When you take all that away from somebody, all years of doing this, it's a gut punch. It hurts.
Yeah.
So I was really upset with that. Nobody wanted them to go to LA. LA didn't even want them. It was a stupid decision because the owners were greedy. And even though San Diego was offering to help foot the bill for a new stadium, they still ended up going to Los Angeles. So I'm done with them.
Yeah.
Sorry for all.
No, rants are okay on this program. One thing here is that Chicago politics is one of the most corrupt anywhere in the country. There's a big dispute with the incompetent mayor that's here in Chicago regarding the team and all of that. And frankly, if just local government incompetence leads to one of the biggest franchises in all of the NFL moving, that ought to be a wake-up call for some people. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't know, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. That's for sure. That is for sure.
With regard to the markets here, lots of things really slowed down. I'm not seeing setups for a lot of things at the moment. Mulek still not able to recapture the VWAP. Just looking through some of these other ones, Ruby still going lower. Yibo is under $1 now. Boxlight is struggling to hold above the VWAP. CDIO lost its VWAP. Etsy looks like this could still go lower. Not looking like we had all the good movement we had out of the gate here. Everything is starting to turn around and come back.
Really quick, CDIO might have lost its VWAP, but it got support again from the top of the fair value gap.
Yeah, Joe. The Chargers fans, they were absolutely fantastic. I think that was one of the top rated tailgating areas for all the teams. All 32 teams was the Chargers stadium in San Diego. The Qualcomm Stadium. So like I said, it was a real punch to the gut to have all that taken away from you and go to a city where you weren't wanted, that we didn't even want the team to go. So yeah, San Diego was fantastic, and it really sucked that they made the decision to move away from there.
I'm being reminded of Anchorman quotes that I will keep to myself regarding San Diego. Okay. Glad somebody got it. All right. 13, we've got less than 2 minutes left here. We kind of already did this. Do we want to wrap on any of the stocks that we've kind of taken a look at here today? I guess we can start with CDIO. This gave us a pretty decent move here. This is another positive test for the fair value gap that I'll keep gathering some more data on. I think as long as it holds above this, maybe we do have an opportunity to get to this 267-ish high. You could probably make the case maybe that you have a intraday head and shoulders there. I don't know. What do you think on CDIO?
Oh, good point. I think that you're right about there being an intraday head and shoulders. That totally looks like we could be getting something like that, which with the neckline being at about kind of where we're at right now, about 235. Also, when I look at the 65 EMA and to the left, right where the 65 EMA is, there is a support resistance area from yesterday. So that 65 EMA at 230, that could provide some support on the way down here. Now, we might get a bit of a bounce when we hit that moving average, that EMA, but I don't think it's going to hold and reverse. If it does, we're going to need to see a recapture of some other levels like 250. But if it doesn't, then I think that this comes back in towards the $2.10, $2 area.
Okay, Talk. This was another one of the movers here. This thing basically a staircase higher. We're holding above 5 here. This has been a pretty good winner if you traded it. I didn't get a tradable setup on this, but not bad. You got any thoughts here on Talk as we finish up?
Well, this has been sort of riding up the VWAP. Following the initial pop around 8 this morning, when we came back in out of the open, we went above and below the VWAP, finally breaking away from it up to 5. We've been holding VWAP ever since. So until we start losing VWAP again, I think that this could still try to climb higher, even though it's going kind of sideways right now. VWAP is going to have to be the line in the sand here. If we lose that, then I certainly think this is going to come back in towards 450, probably even lower.
Okay. Were any other stocks that you want to wrap with 13, or should we just wrap for the day?
Mulet coming back in. This once we lost that VWAP, it couldn't recapture it. This sinking as well. We also had there's another one that was Ruby, that continues lower. This was a great bearish pattern that we identified, and hopefully most of us avoided that. Other than that, the other ones, Yibo, nothing really there. Boxlight kind of sideways, and Etsy also sideways now, following the decline into the open. So not really a whole lot else happening right now. So maybe I just sit on my hands for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I'll just leave you with this. Etsy holding the fair value gap created by the impulse candle from earnings, holding the top end of that. Can't make this stuff up, folks. All right, we're done here for the day. 13. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, that was easy. All right, we'll be back here tomorrow again, folks. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Have a great rest of your Thursday. PCE tomorrow. We'll be here to break it down. Mark Petrino tomorrow. We're going to close the truncated week out strong. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Have a great day, folks.